I think that's good.
That's that. Do you have a copy of this? Do you have a copy of this? Do you have a copy of this?
I have a bunch of cards. I think we walk out.
Enjoying retirement. As on this podcast.
You can go to my car.
You're not Cindy Robbins. Hey, you're not Cindy Robbins. You can't be sent to your car.
Come on.
No.
I have to go with her car to get that. You know what? I don't get one in here. Oh, God.
I got one for you.
Car and get on this.
Okay. And I didn't give you this one, but you need this one too. And then there's the final, there's the budget.
Yeah, I brought snacks just in case. Because it's been a long time since lunch. But it was very good.
This is where you go.
Feet in here.
We got a minute before we're gonna start, but I would like to just, I'd like to, before we start, if I could have, I'd like to recognize, the superintendent. She is here. Thank you, I appreciate you coming. She's just come on as our superintendent. From everybody I've heard, different people, everybody's really happy to have her. And Ms. Backers and Judge Garza, thank you, sir, for being here. It's good to see you. Okay, so. All right. It is 5 o'clock. Before I call the meeting to order, I would like to have a civic invocation. If we could just have a moment of silence considering the day and its significance. So a moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay, so it is now 5 o'clock on the dot. I do hereby call the Aransas County Appraisal District Board of Directors into session. On the agenda today, we are going to have a public hearing on the reappraisal plan. We will have a vote on the reappraisal plan. And then we are going to have a hearing on the public budget. For those of you who are new to these, a public hearing does not require you to sign up and speak. It's the opportunity for you to stand up and ask us questions that you may have about either of these, what we're going to do today. So this is an important part. I appreciate everybody for being here. I attended appraisal district meetings for years. And it was me and maybe one other person in the room. So I thank you for your attendance. I'd like to, in the back of the room, we have P&A. That is Pritchard and Apple. And they do our, they are our third-party reappraisal, our three-party appraisal for, they do commercial, they do industrial, utilities and agriculture, and then they also do our personal business and minerals. Thank you. Okay, so we will. We have one gentleman who has stood up today, and he would like to speak on items 3 and 4. Absolutely, yes, sir. Would it be all right for you to speak during the public agenda, or would you like to speak actually before the agenda? I'd like to speak in accordance with those items, please. Yes, sir. All right, so that's citizens be heard. no citizens to be heard at this time. Number two, I make a motion to hear the report from Aransas County Appraisal District Secretary regarding update on past Aransas County Board of Director meeting minutes. Colleen, could you give us a report to tell us where we are with those meetings, those meeting minutes? And we'll.
With all minutes, and they were submitted.
Okay.
If they didn't make the agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
What I wanted. Perhaps not all board members had a chance to respond to the most recent meeting. To review, so that they have been submitted to the chair.
So if so I will take these and I will submit them to all of y'all. Colleen's had to go back and there was some confusion. Welcome, sir. There was some confusion. So Colleen, if you email them, I will, if we have them complete, I will email them out to everybody so that we can review them. In the next meeting, we'll go through and to make any corrections that you can do that so we can take care of that off of our plan. All right, number three is this is 3. Sorry, Mr. Wright, did you want to speak on this one? Yes, sir. Mr. Wright. You want to speak on number 3?
Before I address this retirement change, I want to hear what you're planning on doing, and then I will send you some facts.
No, sir, I'm not gonna do anything besides tell I'm not gonna do anything today. There's no action at all. If you like to, I would appreciate if you could give us whatever facts you have.
Why don't you give your report, and then I will send you whether or not.
No, sir. No, sir. I, as the chair, get to decide when somebody speaks on the agenda, so please go ahead and stand up and speak now.
No, Mr. Is this meeting being recorded?
Yeah.
Who is recording it?
I
Asking that question again, were the past meetings recorded in order to back up the minutes?
Yes, sir.
He said it's gone.
And who holds those recordings?
Those recordings are held at the appraisal district on the YouTube website. You can view them there.
Now we're looking at item number 3, which is a report from, but you're not going to report till I say what I'm going to say, which sounds like a standoff, but that's normal.
For you, maybe. Yes, sir. You said to sign up.
That's because I follow Robert's orders, something you might scoop up.
I have left a Open Meetings Act on
Okay.
dais there.
That's
I've
in the
gone
chat.
over, I've gone over every accusation made against myself, against the board about violation of the Open Meetings Act. I have not been able to find one. However, when I go back and I look, I find examples of violations of conflict of interest of these things that happen under yours. But please, sir, go ahead.
Okay. I was new to the board in 2019. And in the first meeting of 2019, we reviewed the compensation plan for the district's employees, special district's employees. And it was brought to our attention that in order to keep qualified employees, that the vesting was considered to be changed from 10 years to 5 years. And I was a little surprised to find out that one of the reasons why this became important is, and I saw the numbers that suggested that the retirement plan for the employees was, I believe, 17%, that's my memory. And was kind of surprised at that level of participation in the retirement plan. Within very few minutes into the meeting, I learned that the appraisal district employees do not collect Social Security, nor do they pay it. And so that was the reason for the 17%, if I remember is correct on the numbers. It was also the reason for changing the vesting rate from 10 years to 5 years. And I guess I'm here because I understood that you were going to make a challenge that that somehow didn't meet board approval.
I think so.
Or do you want me to go after you, Mr. Chairman?
You can, I was gonna say,
I'm sorry?
You go after me, yes, sir.
Okay.
I have forwarded you, the emails from, Mr. Soto and myself on this, and I've also forwarded you the emails from the Texas County District Retirement Services on this. Please, I think what needs to be done is that y'all need to review that and review those emails, and we are going to have a meeting, the next time we have a meeting, we're gonna bring it up for discussion about what y'all decide to do. I would encourage you to speak with Mr. Soto in the meantime to find out what his suggestion is for it, and we can come back and review at that time. But Mr. Soto, if you'd like to speak, you can.
Yes, certainly, sir. The way I understand some interaction that Mr. Hutt brought, or the chairman brought to the district's attention, was that that there was a vesting change. The items that were requested were the minutes and the agendas. And specifically, the question that was posed is where in these minutes is the actual word vesting? Or where in the minutes is there a board resolution for these items? There's not. This was discussed over 2 different meetings. The first meeting would have occurred in December of 2018. December 2018. I don't remember. December 14th of 2018 was the first meeting. It was a part of an agenda packet. The best way that I remember, and this is a long time ago, the best way that I remember the discussion revolving around employees was incentivization, just a general, how do we keep good employees? How do we retain good employees? How do we get new employees? Because honestly, it can be a difficult place to work. Some of the items that were discussed were long-term disability, flex time, and one of the items was vesting. I have 2 different agenda packets. One, as you know, sometimes when we have meetings with the board of directors, we'll just give you a whole bunch of papers, and then there might be a question. Hey, there's a lot here. Can we have all of that in an email? That's what happened in the first meeting, December 14th of 2018. We have an email to all of the board of directors for which there is a vesting document that says current plan, 5-year plan. It's like a comparison. What would happen if? And this was the first time that we had discussed it. What's interesting is that I actually have some notes on that document, which I'm going to submit to you, that says that this is a 2020 item, 2020 budget item. What's important for you to understand about the timing of this is by the time that you're in December of 2018, the 2019 budget has already occurred. It's already been approved because we're doing that kind of right now in the same time frame. What you can't do is you can't go back to 2019. So what I put on there was a 2020 budget item. The next time that the board met in relation to this vesting item was in the pre-meeting, which always typically happens in early June, late May, something like that. It's typically in previous board members that have been a part of this, maybe not the new members, but previous board members, we would submit those documents maybe late April, mid-May, and we'd say, hey, listen, do you have any items with the budget that you have any issue with? If not, we're just going to strike them, right? Because the first people that we have to convince about this are the people that are either going to approve or disapprove the budget back in August or September. And so we typically go through a 2-stage process. In the second meeting, there was an agenda packet. That agenda packet was mailed or was emailed the day before the meeting. Hey, these are the items that we're going to go over. Here's some things. In that agenda packet is the vesting change from what we currently had, which was 10 years, down to 5 years. So on 2 different occasions, I spoke to the board about, go ahead.
So I guess my question in all of this is, you are stating that there is no recorded minutes, correct, for this? Was it recorded?
Well, it's not in the minutes.
And there's no agenda.
Okay, was it recorded? Because if it was recorded, this is all null and void. We can go back
It's
to
not.
that.
This is way before we got into this. You have to remember.
But that was COVID timeframe, so
Now-
that would have been, I'm just asking.
If I could ask, neither The vesting change says that we need to have an agenda item to accompany it. And it needs to have minutes
Correct.
that reflect it. We neither have an agenda item, and it's supposed to create something, nor do we have minutes.
Okay, so
So
again,
that's where we're at. And
So, yeah, and your question is like, this was before our YouTube stuff went on. You have to remember that the first meeting was 14 months after Harvey. The second meeting would have been 6 months after that or thereabouts. So we
So you
don't,
did not have a meeting for 14 months after Harvey?
no. I'm saying that this particular meeting, I'm just giving you a time frame. You said COVID and it was,
All I'm asking is, during COVID, we were required to record meetings, correct? By law, because of the situation. People weren't coming in person. Was there a recording
not
of
a record-
2019 and 2020 at all?
I cannot find one. No.
Okay.
So I'll continue. So in the second meeting, again, there's an agenda packet that has this document in it. It was discussed. The official action that was taken was congruent and inclusive of a budget item. It was first, seconded, it was approved. Okay. Now, when I say approved, it's not really approved until it goes to the entities and goes into September. But when I'm speaking to the board, I'm trying to communicate, are we doing this thing? Can we do this thing? I am handing the board items that are congruent. One has to do with employee incentivization. The second one has the financial thing. Go ahead.
Are those in the files that are on the deal? So there were supplemental backups to what was on the agenda at that time.
I'm gonna present that right now.
Okay.
So, there's a first meeting and a second meeting that are here.
so,
There,
Okay, so
hey,
let's-
if I could continue.
if you could just, what I'd like to do is, we got a lot to get to.
Yeah,
I know,
don't
you're like me.
how the boxes
Can you,
fit.
I just wanted to present it to us, you guys
No,
go home,
hang on.
and you present it to us, you're gonna go home, you're gonna look at it, you're gonna decide, and we're gonna move on, so. if you just
Sure,
present it.
yeah, and so the second meeting happened, there was a first, second. It is my understanding, again, I talked to the council, district council, the official action that was taken was the budget, and there was lots of things in the budget. This was one of many. If you want to go ahead and pass this out.
Jack, who was the chair at that time?
First and second.
If I could,
Now, the last thing that I want to bring to your attention, what's important for this board to consider or to understand in this relation is there's a certification, and it's gonna be at the end of meeting 2. And I'm gonna read this out loud. I certify that the plan agreement for the participation of the Aransas County Appraisal District's TCDRS for the 2020 plan year truly and accurately reflects. The term is official action. It says the official action taken for the properly posted meeting on 6/6/19 by the governing board, and such action is recorded in the official minutes. I'm gonna say this. If this document had said board resolution here, I would have stopped and said, whoa, wait a second, I don't have a board resolution. If this had said agenda item associated with the meeting, I would have said, well, wait a second. But it says official action. Now, if there's a contention there about the will of the board at that time, then you can, if this board wanted to go in a different direction with vesting, you can do so. But I did communicate with the board. It's part of 2 agenda packets on 2 different meetings, and this was clearly communicated to the board at that time. And it was born out of an incentivization to keep good employees and to hire good employees. And so now, with whatever conversation, I will say one last thing that that I did have a conversation with the TCDRS, and I'm like, did I miss something? Like, did I miss something here? I'm not infallible, I can make mistakes. And I asked specifically, does this require a board resolution? Is there something in your rules that requires a board resolution? And the answer to me was no. And this was by Roxanne, who is our TCDRS. Now, if she told you something different, then she told you something different. Now, what's important about the question is it's pointed about the language. Board resolution is different than agenda item. Agenda item is different than official action. And that's important because what I signed was official action.
Okay, let us just do our research.
Yeah.
And this is nothing. I mean,
Anybody
yeah, we have
else?
our
Let's go
documents.
through. Anybody else? Let's move on. Moving on to agenda item 4. Public hearing on 2024, 2026 Aransas County Appraisal District proposed reappraisal plan in accordance to Texas Tax Code Section 6.5. Would you like to speak, sir? You're on this.
Do you mind if I go, because
Oh,
you said I can ask questions, right?
yes, you can.
So do I get to know like what the reappraisal plan is?
The reappraisal plan is, right now, it's up for,
Thank you.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
about to say, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dr. Leslie Austin. I'm the superintendent of Lockport Village ISD. Anything else in here?
no, ma'am, that's all I need to know. This is, our reappraisal plan is, we have not updated our reappraisal plan, has not been updated from the 2023. What normally has happened in the past is we have just gone in and we have just renewed this one. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna look at a couple of proposals that maybe some of us had. And it was, if you have any questions to begin with or concerns, I would love for you.
I do. I'd love to just kind of,
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
heard different things. I've tried to do my research. I'll let everybody know I'm pretty new. I've only been here since April, so y'all just bear with me just a little bit.
So before you start, but I want you to know that like I understand that this is created for the funding.
It
for
is,
the
so that's what I'm gonna explain.
That's
So
why,
the
yes.
concerns of why I left, and I wanted to tell everybody is because the majority of our funding comes from our local appraisal values. And so it's a big deal to us. And there's two things that really, not only do like the majority of our revenue come from this, our recapture. We are a recapture district and we are a property rich district. And so anytime our appraisals are changed or updated, that's going to make a big impact. And so I was kind of looking at what different kind of appraisal plans are out there. Some county appraisal districts do every year, some are different or proposing to go further, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And anything that's not the yearly could negatively impact our district. The three things that I think could hurt us are, number one, is any revenue during that time, any new construction during that time, that wouldn't be coming to our district in revenue. The second is if there is a difference between our county appraisal district and our state comptroller, our recapture is based on the state comptroller. So not only will we not get the revenue of whatever that is our recapture is gonna go up. So it's almost like being hit twice.
Yes, ma'am.
So those were kind of some of the concerns. I don't know what you were going to, there was three. Well, it's essentially we won't get the revenue and recapture goes up.
So if I could answer some of those questions. we can.
Yeah.
So the state comptroller does not do it every year. The state comptroller does it on a cycle. So ours is 2025, the comptroller will do the test again, to do the process again. If we fail, we have 3 chances to get it correct. The idea is that we get it right the first time and we don't fail. And so
I like it, but what happens if you don't?
we're not going to get it. I would not propose a plan.
Would there be a bigger risk
No.
if you wait longer?
No,
To not make
and I
it.
will, so we'll talk about this, but, because I haven't talked to them about some of these things, so I don't want to have a conversation with you first that involves me without having the board first. And so, and I would imagine, at least from my standpoint, that any new construction would come on the roll every single year. That would not be
It would come
excluded.
on the roll and be counted.
it'd become on the roll and counted. I've talked to people from Johnson County, and the Johnson County went to appraisal once every 3 years. And then I've spoken to people from Tarrant County, and Tarrant County has gone from appraisals once every 2 years.
And that's one of the big ones out there that the
Yes.
school districts have gotten together and are suing Tarrant County.
Because Tarrant County they put in, they put faint words within their reappraisal plan that contradicts the comptrollers. So we can make a reappraisal plan and we can say whatever we want in it, but the comptroller don't care.
Can I ask you?
If I finish, the comptroller is gonna do their plan, is gonna do their reappraisal the way they want to, regardless of what we do.
Right.
So it is gonna go ahead, that's it.
So, but today you're gonna talk about it with them. Do y'all vote on the reappraisal plan tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I won't be able to read what you're going to propose then to see what my concerns are, like in
Anything
that
that,
language?
any language that we change from the old plan will be discussed tonight, and if you would like the opportunity to come back up, and after that, we have the discussion before we weigh in. Like, that's what I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, that's just
Absolutely.
a real short time to look
Yes,
at language that could hurt our district. And I want you to know, Mr. Chairman, I just don't want us to lose something for our school.
No, and I am dedicated, you have appointed like some
Ms.
wonderful
Allison.
reps
Yes.
to your
And if she
board.
wants to add anything to what I'm
And
saying, and I hope I've spoken.
She yells at me quite frequently about the need to,
Well, then I'm gonna let her know that as she's on the board, that as you start looking at the plan, that I just wanted the members of the board to know that's a big concern for our district.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
With respect, Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I didn't know what was gonna be presented tonight. I do have a 2025-2026 reappraisal plan along with, this is not in substitution of anything that you may come up with. It's a backup plan because I didn't know what y'all were gonna present.
Is it like that? Is it the same plan?
I'm gonna present it to you and you're gonna be able to discern what the difference is.
We
So
show the
there's-
changes, Jeff.
There's 3
We
things.
outline the changes.
They're on the second
Is
one.
it substantive? Okay, good.
On the second one, there's like a red line of what we've changed from one year to the next, so you can see the changes. It's real easy. And included in it is a
Dr. Austin. Mr. James he's a former president, yes, and he can probably look it over for you and give you any other questions. Actually, here. Hey, Jack.
This is,
That's what I
why was this on here?
Did anybody else?
Hey, Jack.
want. Yes.
Why didn't we get this before?
because, well, at the last meeting, I thought that the board was gonna prepare something.
It's not our job as a board to prepare that. You are the chief appraiser. The whole thing is why are we getting this to read in front of all of these people, ask our questions?
Ma'am, I agree. We are, the only plan that we need to work off of today, and the plan that we have worked off of is we have worked off of the 2023-24 plan. And I believe Mr. Oker just indicated to me that is the plan that he looked over to make changes to. Is that correct?
Yeah, like, so some of the red lines I'm looking here is just things that I'd already highlighted.
When does this
Okay.
have to be classified?
Okay, so.
Today?
Yeah, because you need so many days' notice. And to answer your question, it's a good question. At the last meeting, I made very clear that it's a lot of work. It was purported by the chairperson that they were going to do a plan. And I was unsure what was going to be presented. As of today, I'm still unsure. Now, I understand your question. I understand your frustration. That's the reason I gave the plan and a revision, like what's been revised from the last time.
I would have even been happy to have had this. I work, you work. All of these people, this is a volunteer position,
I
correct?
understand that.
Even if I would have gotten this at lunch today, I would have had time to review this. Now I feel like I am holding up everybody else's time who's sitting here, and I'm not just saying you, because if this was something you said you were gonna do too, Then where did and I don't need finger pointing, what I need is a respect of people's time.
Yes, ma'am. And I believe that we have time to go through this and make whatever changes that we need to make in it. So what I would like to do to begin with is to have discussion. Mr. Ober, would you like to say something? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Okay,
Yes.
I really want you to hear this specifically.
I'm listening, I'm
You
just,
mentioned, Chef, Mr. Hunt, of Tarrant County, right? I need you to know, and I suspect you do, but in case you don't, I'm gonna tell you what's currently happening in Tarrant County. The history of it is that the appraisal board, the final review equivalent in Tarrant County, fired the chief appraiser because he wasn't doing what they wanted to be done. And they decided to go to an every other year appraisal plan. That prompted all of the Tarrant County school districts to go into extreme disruption, to the point that the Tarrant County school districts have filed suit against the individual board members in the Tarrant County appraisal board over the actions that they took, because what they did was illegal. They gave instructions to the remaining appraisal staff as to how they wanted appraisals to be conducted. That's the path that your leader is leading you down. And I'll tell you this, it's going, the school districts in their filing suit, the individual board members said, we're not going to pay our quarterly payments until you satisfy this every year appraisal. We cannot afford to have money taken away from us more than it already is. And that's what this action will lead to. And if Mr. Hunt would, pay attention long enough to hear me, this would be very meaningful because this is an individual suit. Mr. Lambert sued individually. Mr. Ober sued individually. Mr. Hutt sued individually. That's where this is headed. You're going down a very dangerous path with a want to change something that frankly, you don't understand.
So just for clarification, you spoke a minute ago about the board and the way that firing the chief appraiser, that they would give you direction to the staff on how they wanted them to complete the appraisal process. Is that what you?
That is what I said.
I mean, I don't know the extent of those directions, but I mean, isn't that essentially what this is?
No, the board told the existing staff that they wanted to have it done every 2 years. The existing staff knew what the workload would create in doing so, and what the potential was for being found not of local value. Comptroller comes in as they want. If you don't reach 95%, no, you know this, then you lose. The district loses. They take away money that they've already been given. But the board started acting as the chief appraiser, giving instruction. You have neither the education, nor the experience, nor the license to do so. And that's what they did in Tarrant County. And you're getting that close to doing it if you approve an appraisal plan that you know history says it's going to end up in lawsuits involving the school. And the kids lose.
Have you had the occasion to visit any campuses, post-school campuses in Tarrant County?
No.
I've been to probably a dozen, and underfunding is definitely not a problem in any of the campuses I've been. So a lot of people can make a lot of claims, and a lot of people can squawk and scream at the top of their lungs. Not everything they say is true. You're making some statements that are factual, and I can tell you, Tarrant County is not.
Yes, sir, I worked in Tarrant County last year.
Yeah, which one did you work at?
I worked in a charter school, but I worked in the neighborhood of Stock Six, and I have seen the schools, and they are underfunded, I promise you.
I can assure you that the districts in which I have attended campuses there are anything but underfunded.
I could say
Mr. Oker, may I ask you, how you can come to the conclusion something's underfunded? I'm looking at brick and mortar.
Because I
Did you look at the budget?
Sir, so do you want to, can we move? All right, so, sir, would you like to finish? Anything else you'd like to finish up with?
No, I'd like to think that I'm not wasting my time. I know you set out an agenda that you're gonna follow, and I know what you're gonna have. I may write the check.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate it. So,
This whole one,
It's like-
there's this
It's
one.
something, just go ahead and search me. I'm just tired.
Okay, so Michaela and, Colleen,
Mr. Walker, this,
I'm speaking to, listen, Colleen, every year that we do this plan, we basically, we reapprove the previous plan. I don't know, I've looked over the plan, I have two suggestions for the plan. And that's my only two suggestions, and this is one of my suggestions. Is one, and we can discuss this, so this is mine, that what we do is that we reappraise everybody's property on the same year that the comptroller does their reappraisal. If we fail that reappraisal, we reappraise the next year. But if we, otherwise, we do it every other year. So for instance, 25 is a year that we get checked by the comptroller. They're gonna look at those values. So we wanna make sure that during this year, that we look at the property and we do the schedule. So I got, the way appraisals normally work is this. They do a third, a third, and a third. And the years that they don't do a third, the years that they're applying an adjustment schedule. And this is a neighborhood schedule. Okay, I understand that we appraise every single year. I spoke to the chief appraiser in Johnson County, and I told him we had 5 appraisers. He's like, wow, I got 100,000 people and we got 9 appraisers.
No,
So-
100,000 parcels.
100,000, okay. And they have,
Not
and they have 9, and they have 9 appraisers. So we need to, my suggestion is 2 things simple. We appraise on every year that the comptroller does it, so we make sure that we hit the comptroller's level. And 2 is that after we do the property values, after we do the hearings, we rerun mass appraisal and we recalculate the properties. And this is the reason I say this. If I go to protest and my property is comps are yours, Kevin's, and Matt's, and I lose mine, but you go in on a later case and you get your property value lower. My property value at first was used to reflect, yours used to argue my property value, but now that yours has gone down, it should be recalculated. Okay, so I have a simple proposal and we can talk about the problems with it. Mr. James is here. He's a chief appraiser. Mr. Soda's here. He's a chief appraiser. This is great. Gentlemen in the back there with P&A, these guys offer a service where they could come in and they could do our residential appraisals for us as a third party. So he's somebody who can give us, answer our questions about this. So I would like, and we can have a discussion about what y'all think, and you can ask those questions too. And if they would like to come up and, if any of you would like to come up and say something about what I would say.
First, I'd rather hear from them
Yes.
on pluses and minuses of what they foresee being an
Perfect.
issue, and then we can discuss, but I think they're,
I guess the
Important.
first thing I'd like to ask is what's the purpose of going to every other year?
So that people's appraisal values aren't hit with appraisal increases every single year.
can I make a comment real fast before I
Yeah.
forget, because I will forget.
Yeah.
The problem with that I foresee, and tell me if this is, when you've got 60% of our population on a fixed income, right? So 1 year it set as X amount of dollars, then we don't appraise, and then it goes up. So what and on top of it, you've got inflation and you've got everything else that plays a part in it. So what I'm saying is that they don't know what it's gonna be 2 years down the road, or hopscotch the year, then they may not have the funding that they had because they were paying inflation. They didn't know how much it was gonna go up, something to consider.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't forget about
That
homestead.
was something I was gonna.
Don't step, Colleen?
My understanding is the homestead, if you can only go up 10%.
That's correct.
Right. If you're homestead.
Homestead, and look at the numbers of the homesteads in our county. There's, I mean,
We have,
some
On average, how much did the
we have
appraisals go
about
up this year?
6,000 property owners.
14%.
yeah, which is not, so you got only 14% that know that they're only gonna go up 10%.
No, you have to
Okay,
think of the percentage as an average. though.
An
You can't
average,
take it
because,
as
yeah,
Everybody.
Yeah.
is-
yeah, yeah,
If I could, Mr. James, thank you. I'd like to hear, I'd like to, Mr. James.
So I'm kind of missing the point here, because it is gonna be more onerous on property owners to get in a 2-year cycle. And you spoke earlier, you said, well, we have 3 years to make it up. Have you ever been party to
No, sorry, I wasn't saying we had 3 years to make it up. I said that
3 years to pass?
I said you had 3 chances to pass. That's why we want to make sure we get it right on the first time.
Right.
Thank you.
So
sir.
getting it right on the first time would mean every year. If you wait you gotta.
For me personally, to answer your question, the people that I've spoken to throughout the years, and I've been involved with property tax, gain, if you will, for the better part of the last 20 years. From my perspective, it's all about reprieve. It's all about not having to go fight it every year. I understand there are certain, and I would love one of these days to put this on a agenda, there are certain population areas, and it's funny how it always coincides with the highest voter turnout, where people don't see massive increases every year. I've never been fortunate enough to live in one of those environments, so I'm one of these people that has to go down and fight every year. I would love to be able to tell my neighbors that, hey, you only got to do that every 2 years. I spend massive amounts of time amassing data to go down to have a review board tell me I've got 3 or 5 minutes, depending on what county. And they don't even look at what I'm doing. They don't listen to anything I say, and it's an extremely aggravating process. If I can make, through some action we do here, if I can make it where my neighbors only have to go through that process every other year, and I can bet you that if we went to those areas, the local pockets of the people that are politically connected, the more affluent, if they were seeing the massive increases that we see every year, I'll bet you they would want this system to change as well. But we've got people in this county, you can go, it's all online for everybody to look at. It goes back to 2013, I think, on our local, on our website. And you can see property values that haven't changed or have changed a minuscule amount since 2013. We all know that's not the market. You go to my neighborhood, you won't find that. And so that's my motivation. I'm tired of having to fight this every year. I'm tired of my neighbors coming to me and extremely upset. You're talking about something very personal. You're talking about where people live. You're talking about them having to write massive checks. I mean, some people, we're getting to the point where a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home, we're gonna be $20,000 a year in property taxes if we continue on this current hockey stick curve. If there's anything we can do to mitigate that as a board, I am all for it, because this has gotten out of hand. I own property in 6 counties throughout this state.
I appreciate what you're saying, you're
everywhere.
passionate about it, but you're at the wrong venue to accomplish that. You need to be in Austin, because your only job as a board of directors is to make sure that this district is run properly and completely by the tax code. So I get it. I mean, if you want to lock arms with me and go to Austin, hey, I'm with you.
Well, the tax
property
code,
tax system is broken.
right, the tax code says we can do it once every 3 years, right?
Yeah, loosely language, yeah. You're setting yourself up for huge failure.
Okay. Well, what we're in right now is better. I can tell you,
No.
my neighbors would disagree with you completely on that.
Well, market value is what you can sell it for, and I bet if you protest your property every year, I would venture to say that you would not sell your property for your appraised value.
But what you have to understand is, and this is contemplated in the law and in the documents that we give to people who file protests, we're all in the same basket. And
Right.
if someone is undertaxed in comparison to me, it doesn't matter whether I would sell.
I get it. I'm with you there.
It's that they're undertaxed.
I'm with you.
Or underappraised.
Yeah, it sounds like you feel like you've been picked on.
Sir, do you,
Yeah.
sir, okay.
Your job is-
Karen,
I just
Kelly
want to,
has
I want to
been
make
trying
sure.
finish her comment that she was cut off quite a while ago.
My only statement is this, I understand that half the county is not homesteaded here. So there is no cap on non-homesteads. So to think that they're gonna be shocked, I mean, they might get a 20% increase this year anyways.
Well, there is
So-
a cap on non-homestead now. 23.231 caps non-homestead at 20%. Doesn't matter if you're Walmart or John Smith on Magnolia Street.
So they.
So could it be
No
40%
shop
after
then.
2 years?
So that's even.
Well,
Can be, yeah.
well, that's a legislative action.
It's a
So you get
legislative
it every
action.
year.
That-
Now,
some-
you get 20% this year, and then you get 20% on top of 20%
Yeah.
this year?
Right.
Okay, so that's what they were trying to kind of solve here anyways. So to make the claim, so I'm just trying to say the other fact here, to be shocked somehow, when, I mean, really, if you get 20% on top of 20% every year, in the end, if we're concerned about them being shocked and not being able to pay it, they're gonna end up paying more in tax by doing it that way. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Jeff,
Judge, oh, sorry, go.
I just want a few seconds.
No, yes, sir, please go
I'm gonna stay at the podium.
No, you can do, sit down there. I'm sure, you like to stand.
No, I wanna
I know
stand.
you got to be
You put a
funky.
podium here.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna stand up. I'm gonna say something right off the bat that's meant to be critique, and then I wanna move past it. I'm frustrated with the way that we have communicated. Us to y'all, y'all to us. I'm
Amen.
very frustrated. So it is, not beneficial, in my opinion, to sit here and talk like this right now on a day when we need to make big decisions. There's a lot to talk about. I want to tell you guys, we didn't invent the property tax system. When I was a little boy, I didn't dream of working at this job. I didn't write the code. There's parts of this code that I have to enforce that I lose sleep over. Someone's house burns down, guess who the guy is that gets to tell them there's not a prorated value for that year? It's terrible. There's all kinds of nonsense in the property tax code. And it gets worse every 2 years. It gets convoluted and difficult. You know, the last thing with the compression rate for people who are over 65, figure that out. It's nuts. You can live right next to somebody and have 2 different tax bills now. We didn't do that. This, we've talked about a lot of stuff. There's some things that are super important. Jeff, you said something, probably the only thing that you've said that I agreed with you about in a long time. You said Tarrant made some mistakes. I've read it.
Yep.
You're right.
Absolutely,
They made
I
some,
agree.
they made some colossal wording errors that made me think, who wrote? This is crazy that they said this stuff and put it in ink. The difficulty is this. When the legislature a long time ago said 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you guys get to pick. That's what you get to do. They didn't necessarily say in those off years that the values freeze. You need to be aware of that. So when someone reappraises every 2 years, it's possible that in that non-appraisal year, the values change. What didn't happen was the go get inspection, new value for new windows, new roof, and all that stuff. So to me, when I read between the lines, what Tarrant figured out was they weren't gonna get what they wanted unless they forced it in. So on one hand, Tarrant said, hey, the tax code says it has to be at market value. And on the other hand, they said, but we get to pick what market value is. Hold on, just let me finish. My thoughts are everywhere. Write down your question. Because I'm struggling here. There's a lot to talk about. I want to be fast. This is the way I want to explain this to you guys. Y'all get to pick 1, 2, 3 years. All you're dealing with, this is what we deal with. We're all kind of right here. Some of us didn't show up, some of us did. It's turnover. We have super high volume in Aransas County. It's crazy. Every one of our problems stems from this issue. My problems in my life at work stem from the fact that people will not stop buying homes in Rockport. And it happens so fast that the question for y'all isn't can you? You can. You can tell us today every 3 years. You can tell the school district pound sand. You can do it, and nobody can tell you not to. What you can't do is what Tarrant did. Somebody's gonna tell you not to. That's what's gonna happen then. Someone's gonna say to Tarrant, you can't do that. But you can say every 3 years. The question to you is, should you? We have so much turnover, Jeff. I don't want to do this. I want the values to come in. Every time I change values, I've lived here for 38 years. Every time I change value, I raise somebody that I know. I raise their value. I'm the guy doing it. I'd like the values to come down. They need to come down. Don't blame us for inflation.
Have you,
Can you, I have a quick
I
question.
can stop. I got notes, I'm kind of all over.
But what I want you to do, sir, is because you say you have read the Tarrant
I
plan.
have two major problems with Tarrant.
That's what I want
Two
you,
critical problems.
that's what I want you to tell us. What are
Okay,
your
the two problems that I cannot believe Tarrant did, it blows my mind. And let me just tell you guys this, I read this document hoping for magic. I thought, hey, like I said, I'm not a property tax advocate. I just need a job, I have to pay for my kids. They decide, the board gets to decide what market value is. That's a mistake. The board gets to say, with this real weird statement where they say, hey, appraisal district, bring us a sales ratio report, so it, it's comical if you're an appraiser. It's comical to think that they put in their document, show us if we're more than 5% off, and then we'll tell you what to do. Well, that's not gonna do anything. It doesn't deal with stratum, it doesn't deal with categories. It doesn't do anything. It's like, I can't believe it's there. And then by far, guys, I'm telling you, if you guys do this, it's gonna cause me an ethical problem. We may be saying goodbye. They decided that it was okay to appraise commercial property every year. Who gives them the right? Commercial property is owned by individuals. It's not all Walmart. Think about this now. You guys live here, the Walkers, the Rioses, the Winds,
Are you saying, how often do you?
Tarrant is gonna reappraise commercial property every year, but then not reappraise residential. So who pays the difference?
So I think the biggest question is the entities that pay into a budget, which is our next topic, right? Let's go to the source. We've heard from the school district. The school district says it will not work for our budgeting, our Robin Hood, our factors. County.
Man,
Well, hold on, let's just hear, because all of this plays a factor. If the county needs the money yearly to operate the way that they do, I know we've heard from the school district. So county, how does that work for you?
I just want to reiterate what Ray was saying about y'all. Man, y'all got big decisions to make, and Michaela, you just read this right now.
No.
And it's gotta be voted today.
yes, sir. That's why I only planned on making to the plan one to two changes.
There's an issue with your second one though, Jack. It may not be.
That's fine.
I just don't understand why you're bringing the issue now. You need to be working closer with
Yes.
the district. And
In getting something the day of, and we're supposed to make a decision that may affect our school budget, your budget, things like that, to me, we would be,
my budget
Not
will be
making
all right. The school's a little different. I know they're a little different, and y'all got that compression. Who knows what it's gonna do for the next 2 years, but I'll be all right with my budget. I mean, every year, we're gonna get the new stuff put on. Is that right?
a portion of
Well, Jack
it.
said, someone said
Well,
no, but
There's issues with some of that, right? They're beneficial to have conversations.
Yeah.
Because that new is tied to the ability to find the new. And I'll just let everybody in here know that all of our new builds are not permanent. It's not as simple as you think. It's crazy, guys. We drive up and down roads all the time and we're like, hey, that's a house. Hey, where's the permit? They're like,
where's the
what permit?
drawing?
Where's the drawing? We don't have it. But they're gonna get it. It's a timing thing.
Right.
They're gonna get it. It's just, we're there in September. They get their data in October, but it makes us miss it. We miss it.
But to answer your question, we'll be fine. We'll work around it. But this isn't about the county, it's about everybody.
Well, it's about paying into, yes, it's about them, what's most effective, and also, again, how we get funded, right? And
Right.
so you get funded that way too, and that's part of your operating
But
budget.
I think this is a huge decision for something that you just read, that all of y'all just read.
Okay.
And I think y'all need to work better together, and y'all should have started this about 3 months ago on your meetings to.
Did you
That's my
have a
consensus.
conversation with, thank you, sir, did you have a conversation with, Kathy Henderson?
Yes, I did, and she's strongly against it, as well as Dr. Austin.
Can you-
And so as a representative of the school district, that I have to follow my lead and my chief financial officer.
Can you explain to me why you're opposed to it?
Why am I? For the exact same reasons that I've stated, and as well as Dr. Austin.
Because, like I said,
Rob, if you have, and this is.
I haven't had the opportunity to speak,
I'm
but,
not talking,
yeah, I don't want to
5 years
interrupt.
ago, 6 years ago, I called Mike Soto and I asked him, Why are we with Robin Hood the way it is? There's a huge discrepancy. I think we were sitting at 14% at that point. Comptrollers are saying this, you're saying this, then we get hit with Harvey. Like there's a lot of moving factors in all of this. The problem, like Mr. Jameson said, was the problem's up in Austin. If we do this every 2 years, which again, I don't think that there's any decision that needs to be made tonight. And actually, you know what? I would like to table this.
We cannot.
Why?
We cannot. We either have to pass it as is today, because we'd have to
Okay,
return.
then let's take a vote.
Can I ask one more question?
Hold on,
Or make a motion. I make a motion to take a vote.
hold on. Excuse me, ma'am. There's a motion on the table. There's a motion on
Can
the
we
table.
clarify the motion, please? What's the
Yes.
motion?
I would like to make a motion to keep the 2025, 2026 appraisal district proposal reappraisal plan as is.
As submitted
As
to,
submitted,
Okay, so which document is that? Can we
it says,
mark it number 1 or something like that? So that
it actually has a date on it, bottom. It's both years, 25 and 26. I'm sorry? This is appraisal every year.
I would like to make a motion to keep the reappraisal plan as every year for the 2025, 2026 year.
Because let's clarify that motion.
Is there a
We
second?
can.
Do we have a second?
You have to have a second before discussion.
Well, I'd like to clarify that, please.
Also,
Okay. So the motion stands as this: Michaela Austin has made a motion to adopt for 2025, 2026, the same identical reappraisal plan as was adopted for 2023, 2024, correct?
I think you said what, after that, I think you said what was submitted.
what was
Well,
submitted,
come on.
there was some highlight.
Michaela, this is last year's, this is the corrected one.
Okay, the correct,
Michaela, okay, go ahead. Which one do you want to adopt?
the corrected,
Okay.
single, every year reappraisal plan for 2025, 2026.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
You second the
I
motion?
take the motion to approve the 2025, 2026 reappraisal plan as the plan that includes reappraisals every year. Good.
On that note, if you want to keep the every year plan, I would recommend that unless Matt reads it, that we adopt the 2023 plan. The previous one, just adopt it over, because nobody's had a chance to look at the changes to it. And that plan has been the plan that we adopted every year.
So based off of the highlighted versions, if your words are accurate from your mouth to God's ears, that the highlighted versions are that it changed from Aransas County ISD to Rockport Fulton ISD, 2025, 2026, and then there was one area where he marks out for aerials and.
Yes.
This document, and I haven't had any opportunity to say anything, but this document is essentially this document. This document was the 2023, 2024. It has some red lines, and then you are left with this document. It is a appraise every year document. So these are the changes. They're not substantive. It doesn't vary very much. And so if you want to adopt this, then this is the adoption that you want to put forward.
We're open for discussion right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Discussion.
Mr. Soto, on page 11,
Sure.
this is just for verification. The last paragraph above where your name is listed, chief appraiser, it says 10 full-time employees. Is that number actually 11 now?
Well, it's to be determined. It's 10 and a half.
Okay.
And the reason that I mean that, because in the 2024 cycle, so at the inception of this thing, it's 10 and a half. It's not 10, it's not 11, it's 10 and a half. Because in the 24 cycle, we were given an extra employee for half a year. So I didn't know what to put there.
So that's still accurate.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what happens with the budget tonight.
As of right now.
But I will say this, that I have had a discussion with members of the school, and I've had a discussion with Michaela. She said that she has to make some hard decisions with personnel. And I have a solution for that. So that's another reason that there's 10 people.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Michaela, on this plan, they have where we physically look at each property every year. Okay?
Mhm. Is that being done physically?
We do it.
Because I thought we also got a software
Okay, so
person.
We do it through two mechanisms, and it's listed. We do it through aerial photography, or we drive by with physical inspections. So
What
we do-
percentage are drive-bys?
85.
And we're
You
using-
can imagine, you guys know Aransas County, you can imagine where we're using aerial. You know, north of Holiday Beach, we don't spend a lot of time
West
out
and
there.
Taft area.
If I, sir, just, when you guys do a residential appraisal, do you physically inspect each property every year, or do you inspect once every 3 years?
By law, it's, the tax code says that we have to re-inspect within a 3-year timeframe. Every appraisal district is different depending upon what is mandated by the, basically, by the, in the reappraisal.
That's
Right. So we have some counties where it's broken up into thirds, and we have other counties where it's a full 1 year, every year reappraisal. So, and it's just the nature of the beast. So it just depends upon the area and the market, and it also depends upon how active a market you have. Aransas County, I'm a resident of Aransas County. Aransas County is a very active market. And when you have a very active market in the way that you do here, the same way that Tarrant County did, they, for the last probably 5 or 6 years, have had a very active market, which is what has been driving values. But the market here, the majority of it, from what I understand, is a secondary market. And when I say secondary market, that means secondary homes. And so people that have money to be spending on secondary homes, and when you look at the market values, it's gonna drive values. And so, you know, but to answer your question, a reappraisal cycle or a reinspection can be done within a 3-year timeframe for reinspection. But reappraisal is different. So there's a difference between reappraisal and reinspection.
So, and I will give you,
Does that,
I get that, but right now, like, again, going back to what the judge said and how we're all feeling right now,
it's not, sorry, it's not, we're not saying that you don't raise the appraisals. We're not saying that. We're saying that other counties, like my house, this man's at your house, they would do my house 1 year, his house 1 year, your house 1 year, but yet they apply a schedule, and this is like the mass reappraisal, they apply the schedule each year. So you're not going to inspect every house every year, but you're getting property
that.
appraisal increases.
what I'm saying should have been done between this last discussion to today is workshops. Giving us our pluses and minuses, telling us, educating us on what needs to be done, and then going back to the entities and saying, if we did this, or invite the entities to a workshop. This whole thing is a waste of, I mean, getting this as I'm walking in is disrespectful to my time. And disrespectful to everybody else's
Are you
time.
speaking to me?
No, I'm saying in general. So wherever the ball got dropped is very disrespectful. And I'm not here to point fingers. What I'm saying is to be an informed citizen and to be an informed board member, we should have been holding workshops to where we invited Pritchard and Abbott, we
Okay,
invited
well, we
the
didn't, but we're
entities
here.
and moved forward.
But we didn't know we're here.
Right, so that's why
So-
I just made my motion. We're in discussion. Are we
Right.
done?
I have a question.
Go for
yeah,
it.
in regards to the inspections, like every year, why do we think that that's valuable? For one of the things that Ray had said, there's many times we'll go and we'll just find something new just by driving the county. And it won't have a permit, it won't have, there won't be plans, but there's something there to have to pick up. And what's important about that, if you can imagine in a scenario where you say, we're gonna reappraise every year, but we're not gonna re-inspect everything every year. We're just gonna hold back. the fallacy there is that you're still responsible for all of the market value within that locale, within that district every year. And so let's just say for kicks, your sample set includes 20 properties. And 2 of those properties, we have brand new homes that not only were built that you missed, but then sold immediately. You would still be on the hook for those, and it would count against your PBS study in a large and demonstrative way. That's why we value, for the aforementioned thing that Jason said back there, this is a very active market. I want to say 72% of our entire value is in residential property. It's a very active market. We're not like the neighboring counties that are our same size. Even parcel count wise, when you look at parcel count, we're probably 16,000 parcels that are residential in nature. Yeah. So you're talking, our parcel count is 30,000 or roughly 30,000. Half of those are residential in nature. And the majority of our value in a PBS study lies in category A1, which is residential. And the sample set in per stratum is typically 15 or 20. Right?
Yeah, it depends on when they pull it. If they pull it late, it's 10. They pull it early, it's 15, 20. And then there's 5 stratum, right? And then they knock out the bottom and they count these 4.
Those 4
And then
per
they do
stratum,
it for
2 through
C,
5.
A, and F.
So
That's
what
how we
happens,
do it.
I'm just telling you practically what happens if we were not to drive it and we were to just miss 1 or 2 properties, we're toasting that stratum. I'm just telling you. And we're failing a PBS, and now we're in this vicious cycle to try to catch up. So that's why I think it's so valuable.
I got a question.
We have a motion on the table. It's above us. Is there any more discussion, Kevin?
I'd like to ask my other question today. Did you not say that you do inspect?
Yes.
I don't know that they heard that because I did.
Okay. Yeah. I think I said that. Yeah. We do, and we either do it by I think Ray articulated it's about 85% that we drive by and about 15% in the area.
Depends on how you.
So,
Can
yes,
I,
sir.
can I add something that I think will just be, I understand what motion is on the table right now. That's something I think would be helpful just as information for specifically this motion. Can I offer that?
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at you asking for response. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
This
it's
is
really,
Amos Burke, by the way.
yeah, I mean, I struggle with being brief. Okay, 2 things. One is, previously you said, you held up the reappraisal plan and said, isn't that what this is for? For the board to tell the appraisal district how to get the appraisal. It's close, and in effect, it can be like that because the board does have to adopt a reappraisal plan. But a reappraisal plan is part of one of the steps of doing an appraisal, any kind of appraisal, mass appraisal or fee appraisal. This may seem tedious, but the first step in doing an appraisal is to define the problem. The second is you have to explain the scope of work. The purpose of this reappraisal plan is for the chief appraiser who's been employed by the board to let the board know that he's not some bozo and he has a plan. He knows how to get the job done for the year. He has to define market value. He has to explain that he has enough resources to do the job. He has to explain what the boundaries of the job are. After that, then you collect the data, you analyze the data, you reconcile the values, then you develop an opinion of value, and you deliver it to the client. These are steps. It looks very governmental because we're doing a mass appraisal of so much. But this happens even on a tiny level when you hire somebody to appraise anything. So what this document is it's from the chief appraiser, which is Mike Soto, to you guys. He's telling you, this is how you can know that I'm gonna get this job done. And if you want him, you think he ought to do the job slightly differently, then you give feedback. There's kind of a back and forth as to how that gets done, but they're not directions from the board to the chief appraiser. The chief appraiser is bound by USPAP regulations, industry standards. He has to do things a certain way. There is wiggle room, but I just wanted to be clear. It's not a document from the board to the chief appraiser. It's from the chief appraiser to the board. That's one thing.
I'm gonna call the vote.
And
Thank you.
the second thing is, this is for you actually, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
This
I'm
is
gonna
for
call the
business.
question, hold on, I'm gonna call the question, we can debate it. All right, let's take a vote.
Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Just since we're voting on this, there's two paragraphs here, 8 and 9 on page 13 that have.
On the red line,
I saw
Is this your
those.
question?
8:13.
8 and 9.
Yeah,
I saw
my
those.
question is, I'm just trying to sit here and read it and trying to make sense of it, because I don't necessarily want to vote to pass something that doesn't make sense. Can you give me the reasoning for taking those, all of that red line out?
8 and 9.
On page 9 and
On page 13.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Just trying to sit here and read it and make sense of it, my little brain is not working. fast.
Yeah, so for the 2023 and 2024 appraisal cycle, the appraisal district will use available fee appraisals and the ratio studies appraisals. This is a holdover in which back a while ago, this language had been kept in there and just kind of rehashed, where you struggled to get sales information. That's no longer the case. And what you could do is you could supplement, okay, here you got 5 sales, but you got 2 fee appraisals. You can use that for ratio study purposes. That's really what it is. We don't struggle with that portion anymore necessarily. As far as the second one, the master appraisal report is completed in compliance with standard rule 6.8. It was just, it's actually 6. Yeah, 6 through 8. It's just, it was a little wordy. If you want to keep that language in there, I have no problem with that.
Is it necessary? I mean,
Well, it's just explaining that it's part of the use tax standard. That's all it's doing.
The second thing I was gonna say is really short.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes,
I just want to give you reassurance. The way that the red line version of that was produced, I get it. So I'll put myself on the line for that.
Yeah.
I took the 2023-24 document, the actual Word document, and then the 2025-26 one. You can just put them in Microsoft Word and it automatically finds every difference for you. So it should be every single thing, including every word that was changed, every little thing that's changed. And if it's not, it's Microsoft's fault.
Thanks, sir. So I had another question. So the next page, page 14, and it's, I'm not lying to you, I wrote this actually this afternoon. I wrote 2 words right there, good section. Okay? I was trying to be vulgar. But then I get this red line deal, and the best part is in the middle of that paragraph to me, talking about the accountability of the property owners and how you can promptly responding to phone calls and stuff like that. And I understand a lot of this is minutia, I get it. These aren't laws that you're gonna go to jail if you break or whatever. But it's an understanding, I think, when we publish a document for the people, I think it's good to have that kind of language in there. I was pleasantly surprised when I read that.
We were, remember this?
Yeah, the reason that we pulled this out is for 2 reasons. One, there's statute now that every property owner has an informal capability. So you may not know this, but there was a law a couple of years ago that says every property owner is entitled to. Again, this is a holdover from what we attempted to do in the past before the law was passed. And so it's a function of law that we have to talk to property owners, because on the protest form, they select whether they want it informal or not. And if they check that box, we have to. So it's not even an option for us. That's the reason we took it out.
You know, this one is, it's more of a vague, general, about being responsive.
No, I think you're right, Matt, but I tell you the honest, remember,
The promptly
kind of freaks me out. Because I can tell you on my desk, sometimes there's like, please call such and such. And if I may think it's promptly, but I can promise you they don't.
Right.
And so it felt weird to say promptly when I kind of know better. It's promptly to me if they knew what my day was like, but it's not promptly to them sometimes.
Did you like that, Captain?
But it's a keeper if that's like a thing.
I mean, I think I'd like to wait some comments, but I would have to make an offer opinion. So
Yeah.
Go ahead and move on. Okay.
That's on page 14.
Yes.
So
Second paragraph.
we have
Okay, 2 more ones. On page 17, mentions a 10-year T-bill. What is a T-bill?
Amy, I'm gonna let you weigh in on this.
It's a treasury bill, it's essentially a loan to the US government.
Okay.
It's
And then,
considered to be a risk-free
yeah,
transaction.
Wait, what page is this?
Okay.
So it says,
I'm sorry.
All right,
And then just one more under, on page 20, of the personal property evaluation, we're taking out a part where it says personal property appraisal manual. Did we have an appraisal manual before for personal property? We're not taking out, we're just saying.
We're just saying-
Such as driveways.
yeah, so personal property manual is not referred to here. Both manuals are disassociated from the appraisal plan. I asked council, like, do they have to be in the plan? Because there's been so much, consternation with the previous manuals, which are for a different purpose. That's the reason we took it out, is so that you're not tied to it. If you look at the words before it, along with rendition information provided from business owners, the appraisal staff use other methods of discovery. And then we put in this, such as drive runs, aerial imagery, advertisement, and web searches. This is really how we gather that data. So it was more applicable. That's the reason for the change.
She has the motion as to accept the 2023-2024 plan as written. Because none of
I know,
them-
that's what I'm saying.
So
Here we
let's-
have it. All right. Can we?
We can amend after we have time to read. Let's do
No,
that.
no, we can amend this, we can amend your motion, correct?
The motion was as the 2023-2024 plan as presented in the 2025-2026, right? Or where
So
did
my
you say?
understanding is this, so let me back up on the motion that I referred to you making. She laid this up here and she said, okay, I make a motion that we accept the 2023-2024 reappraisal plan as the same plan for the 2025-2026 reappraisal plan. Okay, and laid it up and said that's what she, the motion here. And I'd like to make a comment, since we are still in discussion on this. This has been viewed by everybody. I think I'm a little shocked too that we didn't get red line versions and new versions and black line versions and all of this until right now. And I'm really offended by both parties here, and I'm a member of one of the parties. So I'm a little shocked that we're doing this. Whether it's red line, and I assure you, and praise to God and all this stuff, that's not what my obligation to the school board is.
It's been a hard year, Connie.
My
It's
obligation
been a hard year.
for all of us,
That's exactly right.
for all
I
of
mean, if we're
us.
just gonna say it
I
as
am
it is.
here on my voluntary time, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, so
so,
we have the first, second discussion. Can we take a vote?
All right, so all in favor of passing this one
As the 2023,
as the 23 plan as it's submitted, say aye.
I.
let's make sure when y'all say as submitted, what
As the
the
motion
motion is that we're gonna take a 2023-2024 plan, and somebody, Microsoft, is only going to change dates and names of the school district, period.
We can do that.
Okay, that's what,
That
that's
is
what.
100%.
We are not,
Okay.
we're not saying from your mouth to God's ears, period.
All right,
That's
gotta
the
vote?
motion on the table.
what did you
One
think?
way or the other, that's the motion on the table. You wanna table the motion
This-
and talk about
this
something
is-
else, but that's the motion on the table.
Michaela, we got this, we got the plan on 7/29. So we got
The original.
we got Mr. Oker. Which plan did you get on 7/29? I got the one this for 2023, 2024.
Yes, the
Yes,
original.
Yes, so that's the one.
Yes, that's the one I'm saying.
That
This
one.
is unacceptable to get this at
Okay,
this meeting.
yes,
We've
okay.
now spent an hour on just this.
All right, so here, we have a motion to adopt the 2023 changes to the dates and the numbers to bring it up to date for 25, 26. Is that correct?
Yes, so now take a
All
vote.
right, we have a vote.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All in favor, say nay. Nay. One opposed? Mr. Oker? I abstain. Mr. Oker abstains.
So, okay.
So three,
You still have-
three, four, one against, one abstaining. Mr. Rep. Agenda item is closed. We're gonna move on. All right, on to the budget. What I'd like to do is just have it quick. We can have a discussion and then we can go through each item for a quick, up or down. And you can say if you want to change it or not, and then we're going to have a final vote on the entire document. Is that,
Yes.
okay. So, is a public hearing, you don't have to sign up, would anybody like to speak in the public hearing about the budget? It does affect the school district, it does affect the county? Okay. All right, so. Line items, public hearing, the public hearing is closed. Moving on to agenda 7, consider possible action to approve or disapprove the 2025 Aransas County Appraisal District budget. Do I have a motion on the table to open this up? I make the motion, do I get a second? All right, let's discuss. Are there any changes that you have, that the board, questions the board like to ask, or any changes that they consider making?
Are we, yes.
Okay.
I mean, are we, like, how do you want to handle?
I want to just go by let's go by the top line and just work our way down. Okay, so, data processing, the actual has increased. Anybody want to talk about the data processing? No. Anybody want to discuss the interest income? No. Anyone want to discuss the miscellaneous income? No. The backup? No. Let's move down to total benefit, and we'll talk about this. The capital outlay is at 15,000. Yes, sir. Capital outlay. I jumped. Yes, sir, I did, because I figured we'd go back and we have that other document to talk about, please. Okay, loan payments doesn't change. Advertising and legal fees.
I have a question on the capital outlay. Guys, was curious. Mr. Soto, I don't know if you've addressed this in previous meetings. The capital outlay, can you just kind of give me an idea of what that?
Yeah, it's items typically that are purchased that are over $500 that would count like as an asset. I'm trying to look to see what that was in 23. Sometimes these are just estimates of what we spent last year.
Well, it says your actual in 2024 was 15 and you're keeping it as 15 in
Yeah,
2025.
that's correct.
Okay.
Do I have a motion on the table to amend that? Someone, I'm not the final motion, would I like to amend that?
I think we should just go on through.
Okay, look, advertising and legal fees.
Legal notices.
Legal
Notices.
Yeah, I had a question on that as well. But I know that's two different deals there. Legal, I know with the legal notices, we don't have anything to say on that. What about the advertising?
Advertising has to do with, they're tied together. So sometimes you'll have an advertisement that's tied to a, like, hey, property owners, the notices are just about to come out, or like this is a good, like this particular, hey, you have a public hearing. Sometimes we have to get a quarter-size page. It's just they're tied together.
Oh, okay, so that's essentially that is the legal notice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there are other things that we give advertising for, but they're minuscule.
I thought this was the case, but I just want to make sure, like, I get so ticked off when I'm driving along, there's a big billboard that says click it or ticket, and that's my tax money to put that up there, we all know the laws and where some go. I just want to make sure we're doing something like that. I didn't think.
No.
Just want to make sure.
Okay, moving along, board of review expense. I would like to see the board of review expense where it's at.
Yes.
Okay. So
32.5.
32.5, anybody?
We're gonna have to
on
start
board?
calculating.
Okay,
We gotta come up with a real
Somebody's in charge of doing the math.
Number.
Bookkeeping and auditing, is there any did the,
Yes,
does anybody want to make a change to that?
Did bookkeeping fees or auditing fees go up?
yes, they did.
Okay.
And secondarily to that, I put a little bit in there for the outgoing bookkeeper, the one that we've had for 20 years. You'll remember that she's retired at the end of the year. There may be some instances when it comes to audit or when it comes to a question that the new bookkeeper might have. She might need to pick up the phone. I put a little bit of extra
So
money,
a consulting
1,100.
fee.
Yeah, consulting fee.
All right, next.
Just hang on. So the 32.5 is the same, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay, the next is auto expenses. I would like to reduce auto expenses down.
I've got some information associated with
I
that.
would like to reduce it down to, what was it, 46?
No, it's
17.5.
17.5. I like to reduce it down to 5,000. So
There was some information that was asked, and you need to know, if you look over at the personnel page, there's $4,200 for several people that are there. And then there's mileage. But understand, the question that Michaela had asked me earlier, sometime in the year, I don't remember when, was, is this on top of? This number in your budget item includes the 12,000 or however many thousand on the personnel page.
Right.
Whatever that number is.
16.
So
16.
606 is embedded in the
It's
17.5.
already in.
So then when
why are we
get
down?
to, right, so when we get down to the personal services over here.
It's because that number is just, it's this personnel services.
Okay, but proposed is. Oh, but see, then that's where that's cut, then we.
So it's double
It's not
dipping
driving,
on
that's what
Okay,
exactly.
so this
And this is from
So
21.
Mike, going forward,
So what do you propose, what do you propose on our website?
auto expense, I would like to do away, my proposed on auto expense is.
What?
Minus, hold on. 5,000. Do I have is that,
Hold on,
Well,
time out.
we haven't even discussed it yet.
well,
So,
we're
hold
just,
on,
we
time out.
discussed
17,500 includes their car allowance.
That's correct.
Right, for 5.
For however many that I've reported in that personnel thing.
it. And I think that we should just pay, I think it's double dipping unless we just pay mileage.
That would be incongruent with the survey that you've been given. That I'm
That's
giving you.
fine, we know that, we're.
Jeff, we need to talk about this just real quick. Jeff, seriously. You can't, like, when you can't ask an employee to use their car like a work car just for mileage. That doesn't account for depreciation. Nobody on this board is so benevolent that they're gonna drive their personal vehicle for 54 cents a mile
It's 72.
all over the county. They're not gonna do it. The county has vehicles.
It's 65.
The county has vehicles, the city has vehicles, these vehicles are used as work cars. I'm one of them, and I'm telling you, if I'm not paid to use my vehicle, I'm not using it. I'm not using it like that. That's crazy. It's a crazy thing to say because my vehicle loses value.
So
Because
why,
I'm driving it.
so what was
And
your,
the district, for 17,500, the whole appraisal district, that's
Yes, sir.
the
Yes, sir.
whole thing.
That's mileage and everything.
I
That's
know,
mileage.
why did it go up from 17.5?
We wanna add a person.
We wanted to add one person.
Okay, then, Mike, I think the last meeting I asked you, is your car included in this? And you
That's
said
correct,
yes,
that's correct.
and you said you don't drive.
I don't
So,
inspect, but I do use my vehicle in the operations of the district all the time.
so when you say operations of the district, what is that?
Wherever I go to meetings, whenever I drop off reports, sometimes when I go to conferences. In the operation of the district, I use it all the
Okay,
time.
so
And-
would you be willing to cut your mileage down to split the difference between the 17.5 and the 21.7? Because you're getting paid equivalent to those that are driving to look at parcels.
I will give up half of
Yes, thank
half of my allowance. I
Right.
would be willing to do that as long as the other person can
Okay.
have theirs.
And in all fairness, only because you're not driving is equal to Ray or
I
Angus or
agree.
anybody else. Okay, so what's the difference on the?
17.5 was 16.
17.5 plus
Does
16.
anybody else have any?
Hold on,
I
hold
just
on.
like to make a comment that when this was brought up in a prior meeting, what I recall hearing from the district was this stipend was to pay for insurance. That was very concerning to me as a person who ran an oil field service fleet for the better part of 15 years. And I had $2 million GL and $5 million umbrella insurance on 1-ton diesel pickups, and I paid about $1,400 a year in insurance. Now I'm hearing something different. I would like for there to be some consistency there. If I'm somehow in error, I am not beyond correction. But that's what I remember hearing was this $4,200 a year was for insurance, and that I knew that didn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, that was incorrect on our part. And it was incorrect on our part where we were incorrectly, Matt, stating it on here and then putting it on the personnel and making it look like this number was actually 40 something. So it was unbelievably confusing to y'all. We just rectified that like last week. We figured it out because we realized there's no way this money is working this way because we're not spending that much.
We're not spending that much.
So the district for 17,500, what everybody gets at that is the whole county is driven. But not only that, that also accounts for everybody's mileage who goes to class. And we all have to get 30 hours of CEs every 2 years. That's in here too. So 17,500 guys counts for all of it.
If you didn't have to inspect every year, you didn't have to drive to someone, so you're right.
But you're still gonna drive to go get the news, Jeff. You're still driving to get the news.
I'm confused. You said it counts for everything, but there's mileage on top of this, right?
No, but that's in this thing. This 17,500, the mileage and the allowance is all in 17,500.
So there's not a $4,200 stipend and then every mile.
There is not. This accounts for all of it.
That was very confusing.
It
was.
confused us. We messed up. We
Yeah.
messed up.
That's fine.
Yeah, we were looking at it, we were like, wait a minute.
So,
I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
all right, so here we go, 42 times 42.
What are you doing?
So we're not doing, all we're doing is giving, we're 4,200 for the 3 new people. And then we're giving 2,100 to Mr. Soto, and that should be our.
So I just basically deducted,
It's 3.5.
19 something.
I did 19,100 is what it cuts out.
That number's right. That number's right.
The 19,100,
And they're adding one this year.
19,500?
100,
So we are.
19,100.
I know. I know, they were adding that, plus they were adding mileage on top of that.
No,
No.
no.
The amount is 19,100. Mike,
That's Mike giving up half of his allowance. So instead of it being an additional 4,200, Mike's gonna give up half of his allowance. And then we'll have a person who's already driving for us and has been driving for us for about 2 years without getting a vehicle allowance. She's finally gonna start being paid for the vehicle allowance.
Okay.
This is the right thing to do.
okay, thank
So
you.
it's 4.5 times the 4,200.
That might be right. I just
Because
hate,
it's 5 individual people, but he's
It's 4 people.
Well, it's okay.
It's 4. No, that's, look right here, look on this page.
The total is
Here.
21,700.
Look on this page. This is the page where it's.
4,200 times.
Look at it, but do it, it's not 4, it's 3.
Okay.
Plus 2,100. Okay, so if I can answer your question, it's 4,200 times 3, and then 2,100, which is 14,700. And then what's the difference? It's just the actual,
it's like what people drive. when they
It's
go to
what people
class.
drive.
Like when they drive
You're getting
Corpus.
So you're getting the vehicle, you're getting the 4,200 allowance,
The
plus
cost.
you're getting
Yes, sir.
the 65 cents a mile for mileage.
Yeah, and then sometimes people will have to go to Austin and we pay out of there. Sometimes I have to go to Corpus and they're gonna get mileage for that. That all comes out of the same fund.
Why wouldn't that come out of the next line, which is conference associations and dues?
because that's specifically the dues associated and the, not course costs and education fees. It's specifically the association dues associated with like TAAO, TAD. there's-
I pay like
That's fine. I don't do
4
that.
different ones a year.
Okay. So are we doing 19.1 or 18.9?
So, Mike,
Yes, sir.
you're stating different from Ray, and that the vehicle allowance y'all don't do mileage on top of that.
The vehicle allowance is the right to use a person's vehicle to do the operations of the district. They report their mileage, they get their
And then
mileage,
you
and the
get-
all-inclusive price of that is what we purported of this
Okay, so
21,700.
that's the difference though, cause you got 16.8 here on this page. That's,
16.8 on which page?
that's
On your
the,
personnel, on your
Right.
personnel.
Right, and
so the 21 is the additional is the mileage on
that is
top.
correct, sir. So
Okay,
like,
So that's,
Nobody has suggested we're doing anything with y'all's, so we'll get to it as quick as we can, because I know you guys are sitting in the back.
okay, I'm good, we'll take Mike's, cut his in half,
Okay.
and
So 19.1.
19.1.
You have that recorded?
Recorded auto expense at 19.1.
Okay. Next one.
Hold on,
Conference.
hold on.
No,
Okay, all right, that's
So
fine.
next line item.
19.1, next line item, conference association dues, it's a $1,000 increase. I don't think does anybody want to change?
We, as a school district, said absolutely no conferences this year because we can't afford it. So I would be, if we're gonna keep them, then you keep it at the same.
Okay, 4,500, all right, that's fine, thank you, ma'am.
Does that include dues that may have gone up for them though, because I know I have.
I'd like to,
dues that we
if
have.
the
We
dues
can-
go up, we can pull it out of.
Okay.
We can change
All
it,
right,
we can ask for
As long
another.
as they know they have a.
Yes.
All right,
We don't want mine.
education, mills and hotel.
Wait, data processing.
Data processing.
Went
So
up
data processing.
3783.
We can't, that's not much of an increase. Education,
Went down.
mills and hotel has gone down.
Perfect.
Any going down any farther? Aerial photography has stayed.
GIS, ESR,
SRI license.
that went up 100, that's fine.
Aerial photography is at 44.
Keep.
Insurance and
Oh,
bond.
hold on.
No,
GIS maintenance went down.
Maintenance and is 23,401.
Insurance and bond premiums, that is typical 1,500. All right, next is legal fees.
just seemed like a pop.
Legal.
Okay,
144.
legal fees, I would like to see this number reduced. I'd like to see this number reduced to 50,000.
With all the suits that I was given today, like 20 of them, I don't see that number going down.
Do we need to switch attorneys, and that's legal, we can go
Can I
into
say-
exec on that
Ma'am?
another time.
Can we set the budget at, we already, okay, that's another time. What do we wanna do about legal services?
But 2 years ago, we raised it to 100 and from 70, I believe. Right.
And part of the reason
72 to 120. I think.
Yeah, and I think that was because of, again, that was the leap from Harvey to all of that. Well, it was by the time it was COVID, it was all of that, everything was going up.
Yeah, everything's like delayed.
Yes. I would like to see it go down, back down to, I'll be happy to,
50,
no,
35,
72.5.
I'd say 80.
80,
2 years ago, it was 72.5.
72.5, I'm okay with anybody else?
Can I just,
And then we have some reserves, I think, if something come up.
Okay, so we can always go back, listen,
I mean, the
I can
point
say-
is to try and get some money back to the
I just
entities
wanna say
that
that
are struggling to
in
meet their
2023,
budgets.
you spent 106,000. That's a full year, like, that's what you spent. So just take that into consideration.
Well,
Do what you
again,
have
we
less
can
for.
talk about
we
different
will
things.
have less to spend this time.
Okay, what's the number?
Building
What's
grounds.
the number? What's the lead?
You said 72.5.
72.5?
72.5, I'm okay with that, let's go 72.5, anybody else?
my number would be 100. but-
I was gonna say, I wouldn't go any lower than what we
Then
spent
let's
last
do
year.
100, that's still 40,000, 44,000 savings.
All right, building and grounds maintenance.
Why did that go up?
Why that went up so drastically.
Why did that go up 7,000?
What?
We just
where-
finished the building.
Building and
Building and grounds,
You know,
Grounds
I actually
maintenance.
had a note here that could be possibly reduced to 18 or 19,000 based on my, I can't find it right now.
let's
Go
just go back to
17.
17.
Yeah,
17,
Okay,
Copy lease and maintenance fee did we redo our lease? Is that why that went up?
Yeah, we have a copy lease and we also have a mail machine that we lease, so that did go up.
So the fixed cost.
That's,
Okay.
yeah. Miscellaneous storage, that actually,
What is that storage? What is that? Data storage? What is it?
No, it's storage. It's like we've had a couple of different events. We had the Harvey event and then we had the flood event. In both cases, there were items that were moved. I've had this discussion with previous boards, like, hey, if you want us to use the storage building that we've had, and they said, no, just leave it. But we have files, we have boxes of files that are there. I've actually discussed this with my office manager that we're gonna go this fall, we're gonna start to try to go through our records retention thing to see what we can get rid of. Things that are old that we can like box up and put into a bin and say, this is for sale, like it's old items, so that we can get rid of at least one of these.
So let's
facilities.
have a goal of trying to get it done by December, so that
Yeah.
we're not paying.
Well,
But some of it, we did say previously that keep it in Victoria.
yeah,
because it's safer there.
that was a
It's
sentiment that was
safer
discussed before. You know,
keeping
I
it.
brought this up before, but they said leave it there. So
So
if
we
you
said
want to
leave it
move in a
there.
different direction, we can move in a different direction in future years.
So 7,600, so it's actually down 500, so we're good.
Postage.
Postage is up 4.
Post, we just have more stuff, guys. I mean, as far as postage.
Okay, next is record copies, 1,300, went up 300.
okay, postage, next is miscellaneous storage, record copies, education course fees,
That went down.
telephone, valuation services have gone down, IT replacement,
Went up 10 grand.
what's the IT replacement?
So the original 15,250 is for data backup. But there's also an additional IT expense that's about to come up, which is the server warranty. And this is just an estimate, an estimate that we got was about $10,000. So that's the reason you see that going up. Because our server, we have to like renew the warranty.
When you say.
How often?
Well, we're good through this coming next cycle. Like, I think we're good for another 14, 16 months, like through the end of December of 25. I believe, I don't have that in front of me.
So can we put that on next budget?
Well, this is the 25 budget. You want to get it handled before the warranty
Okay,
runs out.
gotcha. Okay, gotcha, sorry.
Printing and office, I'm sorry,
The other 15,000, so that's for backup.
Data backup. There's a cloud service for all, like everything, like if we had an EMP
So
or,
it's fixed cost.
yeah.
all right,
25,250.
moving on. Building maintenance has gone down to 0, personal services, we're gonna get, personnel services, thank you, we're gonna get back up to that, and that'll come when we're looking at the actual employee. Printing and office supplies, is there any reason that needs to, that anybody wanna bring that down? I mean, is that?
That's just commensurate with what we're spending. I mean, there's,
It's crazy.
We actually, in Mike's defense, we're spending, we actually were under budgeted last year for or 2 years ago.
We do everything we can to print less.
yeah.
Everything we can, guys, I'm telling you.
I figured you'd want to. All right, you, printing and office supplies, keep the same. Utilities keep this, utilities, are we gonna keep the same? Yep,
It went down.
utilities went down.
I'm sorry, no, I'm looking at the other one. That one, yeah, everything went down.
Okay, so on this page, the,
And then you're about to get into personnel services.
well, we have, the changes that we are going to make, the border review services is going to come down, is going to stay at 32.5.
Yes.
The auto expense comes down to,
19, no, it goes to 19, yeah, 19.1.
Can I please make a statement, please?
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, I think that it should be read like this, we can go line by line and give the number that we agreed on.
okay,
So here we go. We're
Wait,
gonna
hold on,
start
did we-
with disbursements.
Oh, sorry.
Let's start at disbursements and start the disbursement capital. Okay, Capital outlay, 15,000.
Yes.
Loan payments, 0. Advertising and legal notices, 5,000.
Yes.
Board of review expenses, 32,500.
Yes.
Bookkeeping and auditing, $9,040.
Yes.
Auto expenses, 19,100.
Yes.
Conference, associations and dues, 4,500.
Yes.
Data processing, $100,895.
Yes.
Education, meals and hotel, $10,000.
Yes.
GIS, ESRI licensing, $600.
Yes.
Aerophotography, 44,000.
Yes.
Insurance and, GIS maintenance and consulting, $23,401.
Yes.
Insurance and bond premiums, 26,000.
Yes.
Legal services, 100,000.
Yes.
Building and grounds maintenance, 17,000.
Yes.
Copier lease and maintenance, 7,600. Miscellaneous storage, 7,600. Postage fees, 36,000.
Yes.
Record copies, 1,300. Education course fees, 5,000. Telephone, $6,260. Valuation services, 8,000. IT replacement, 25,250. Perfect. That's approved?
Yes.
All right.
Is that what we're?
Yes.
They just kind of run by down
That's
through.
part of it. If we could, real quick, Mr. Booker asked me to, about this line item here, that's the evaluation services. We pay P&A, we pay them, it comes out to what, 50,000 a year?
No, we have two components. Yeah, you have two components of the, let's see, hang on. Under valuation services,
Mhm.
let me get that for you really quickly.
I was privy to the county budget. What I really liked about it was that they had the line item, and then they had a descriptor of what it was underneath it. Would help us.
Sure,
going forward.
the valuation services is made up of primarily, Pritchard and Abbott. You have an ag and you have a mineral, account. So the 7580 plus the 46,000 comes to 53,580. The remaining balance of the, the 80,000 that we have, so roughly 27,000 represents commercial, and it represents data that we receive. We receive information from TREP, Carasoft, which is information for sales data, CoStar with commercial data, and then we have a BIS collection data app that the appraisers use in the field. And so those are all tied to valuation collections. So about 27,000 is the remainder.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Do you want to continue? Go ahead.
Personnel services.
Moving on to personal services. Personal services is a separate document that we have been given. Do y'all have that?
Yes.
Okay. What it really comes down to is COLA, no COLA, merit-based increases, no merit-based increases, longevity proposed, no longevity proposed. So is there any thoughts? I'll ask this one. Did you do COLAs for the
No.
school district?
Unfortunately, we've not been able to give raises for the school district. If the insurance is increased, unfortunately, they have to pay it out of their pocket. We've had several discussions on this, and
So may I ask, so you're proposing that we do no COLA?
I'm proposing, correct, if that's
No
your question.
COLA. Does anybody else have any, on the board, have any thoughts on the COLA? I'm okay with doing no COLA. I understand the school district, everybody is hurting. And we already paying for the increase in their medical costs. So no COLA.
That runs $150 per employee each month. Per month. Per month.
I'm saying we already, what is it?
Their insurance increased this year, just like anybody else's.
Okay,
The insurance, as a school district, if our insurance increases, unfortunately, teachers have to pay that out of their pocket.
Okay. I have a question about the insurance.
Hold on, the insurance for the district went up $150 per month per employee.
So I have a question about the insurance, the health insurance. What does that cover? Is that like the employee?
Just the employee.
And it's,
sir, are you looking for that? Mike, this says, I just want to make, this is public information, right?
What is that?
The salaries and the
Our
schedules
names on there?
are all public information. Judge,
It is.
it is.
It's what we submitted to the,
Names are on there.
Names are on there.
You
It's
can't, names are on there.
No, we cannot name you on there, neither can I back me on
Well,
We went through this so many different times, at this point, I don't even know what's right.
No, sorry, we can mark through them and send it via email.
over 50,000.
so is that,
Not if personnel
I know
names are on
ours
Hold
there.
on,
is
me.
only,
just the employee.
I know ours is only published, elected officials are only published. The personnel are not.
That's fine, but, all right. So, okay, so do we have any questions on, yes, sir, go ahead.
so are we paying, the district, paying 100% premium for the employee?
For the employee, yes.
So I just have a comment on that. When I ran my business, we were flush it sometimes, and I engaged in a program by which I did a group plan, right? I don't remember what I had, 22 employees at the time, something like that. And it cost me about $365 a month, if I recall at that time. And I paid 100% of their premiums in the beginning. Then the premiums increased and there was a correction in the price scheduling and whatnot. And so I went to, I think, a 75-25, and it was amazing that like 80% of my employees decided all of a sudden they didn't need health insurance. I like to have people have skin in the game, and I know this is personal. I understand. I wouldn't want someone telling me that I need to pay something that I previously hadn't either. But I just feel strongly about the employees at least carrying a portion of this premium. Because maybe it won't affect anybody as far as dropping off, but I think if you pay 100% of it, they're always gonna sign. I like for everybody to have a little skin in the game. I'd like to hear the rest of the board's opinion on it.
I think that would be problematic. I just said that I think that what you're suggesting would be problematic for employees.
Certainly, but I mean, all of this stuff is problematic for the taxpayer.
Absolutely,
And,
sir.
mean,
I understand.
taxes
I understand.
And
So,
I'm looking for some way to, it's funny how the government always uses the word partner. It's amazing how though when it's the taxpayer vis-a-vis the government, all of a sudden we're not partners anymore. And I just think that, we throw that word around a lot. And to me, when I saw this, that honestly, I'll tell you right now, Mr. Soto, that was the one thing that stuck out to me
okay.
because I had already been down that road as an employer. And I thought,
Understood.
it's just.
Thank you for, communicating with that, Matt, it's helpful. There's a concern that I would just throw out at the same time. I think what you're saying is not incorrect. Like, I can't honestly, even though I can't honestly tell you that that's terrible. My problem would be this, is at the end of all of this decision, if we end up with employees who, when they're said and done, are gonna make less money because of trying to get this right and not getting a COLA. And so at the end of the day, when they go into 25, they're gonna make less money. I would choose to still be like this, even though I kind of agree with how you're phrasing that. I think that's okay. But I wouldn't want, to me, the floor would be nobody gets a nickel more. If we start talking about people getting less, then I just would say that's a struggle for me.
So let me explain it from the school district side, right?
Sure.
So the state of Texas funds per child, it's called an allotment. So they haven't raised the student allotment since 2019. We are expected to educate 3,000 kids with the same dollars that we had in 2019. They're not giving us a COLA on how to educate kids. Are they adding more onto our plates? Absolutely, they are. So yes, it's hard as a school board trustee to tell a teacher, your workload, yes, has quadrupled. The behavioral issues have quadrupled, but we're not gonna meet your needs because the state has yet to identify that. So as a school district representative, I cannot willingly give to other districts, appraisal districts, i.e. in this case, a COLA or a raise or pay their insurance when we just passed a $6 million deficit budget because we are still being funded from the 2019 and appraisals are going up and Robin Hood's going up.
I must not have been clear. I was saying, get rid of the COLA, get rid of all of it. And I would rather see the numbers not change at all than get what you're saying right. Because then we have employees who make less money in the next year. But we're right in this one thing. I would rather say, get rid of the raises.
Right.
Get rid of all of it and just pass us through with no change than to make a decision that would make someone's salary go down. I would ask y'all
To do that, because
to
again,
not do that.
respectfully, you stood up at one of our meetings and said, you guys gave us a good raise.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
And so
yeah,
you
that-
added full respect and disclosure, you said that, and I feel the same way. I don't think that, yes, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to give everybody a raise, like, overall, if you get this, you get that. It's not, yes.
So I'm hearing from the district then, if you don't mind, and I'll give you the floor, so I don't mind.
That's okay. Let's go there anyway.
No COLA, no merit, but they would like to keep the medical as proposed, which is, $19,880 increase. Yes, ma'am, I'm going from $100,100 to $120
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so that's all right. So
That's
what does
correct.
that come out to, guys? About $19,990?
Maybe so.
Okay,
All
very
I
good.
was asking was just.
You want the medical as
Ma'am,
proposed.
what I was trying to emphasize was that at the end of the day, our employees don't lose money.
Okay, so we.
Going
want
into the
medical
next year,
as
that's all I was
proposed.
trying to say.
But what this board is trying to say to you, based on the school district, is that there's gonna be no COLA and no merit.
If that means
Is
that
that what
people
I'm
don't have to lose money,
I'm
then
asking
I'd
the
say, I'll vote with you.
But you don't vote, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm asking the board now.
No,
I'd like to hear your response.
You gotta,
I'd like to say something on that, is included in this, if I have the same packet that you do, is there are some things in the merit that are not merit. There is a person who is moving from one position to another position,
Thank you for that.
and in that, they're actually getting a decrease. If you look up to the line called bookkeeper deeds clerk, that is the third line on the top section, is that position is going from 52,530 to 43,880.
Sir,
Okay, I understand that, I'd like
Can
to
you
make a
identify
comment,
yourself?
please.
My name's Scott Arrington.
hello, sir.
My
Nice to meet you.
staff
And
member,
thank you. That's what I thought you were when we started talking.
I'd like to make a statement here, if you don't mind, and I've been on this board for 2.5 years now, and the budgets, to me, having a background in accounting, I get a little frustrated when I see merit increases included with exactly what he's saying, which this person received a promotion to a new position that should either be budgeted line item for that amount and not convoluted with a merit. That's what I would like to see. And maybe then we would be more willing and easier to say, oh, okay, I get it. This person really is doing a higher level job and we promoted them rather than saying, oh, they were so good, they were notorious is the word. And so we're gonna give them, because what I see here is on paper, not knowing your staff.
Uh-huh.
And we really shouldn't know the staff. we should only be dealing with you.
Right, right.
Out of respect, and that is not just respect, but the law of property tax and what our board obligation is. And so when I read these, respectfully, what I would like to see is, and this is for the future, we can get here tonight, no problem. I would like to see that someone received a promotion to a higher level job that also went with, they have the qualifications to do that job. And not just they're meritorious, that's a word in governmental accounting that denotes they are doing the same job, but it's such a high, wonderful level that this person actually is doing a different job. Meritorious means that they're doing their job description at a phenomenal rate, which then I have a hard time knowing anyone who does such a phenomenal job.
Thank you
So
for
I
that.
would like to see
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
it's
Good.
really, they've taken on additional responsibilities and they're in a new position.
Yeah,
So they're not getting a merit raise, they're getting,
correct,
okay.
correct.
Okay.
And
It'd be
it's,
a different
it's a little
salary.
hard to see, but it is in the top
Right.
portion. You're able to, if
That's
you're
right.
able to
Yes,
follow the
that's
name.
right.
It's added up in there.
Yeah, and so, but you make a good point.
Okay.
It'll be reflected in future.
And so that's what I
future
would
budgets.
just like to see, because I think that it helps us as a board when we're just looking at the numbers on you know, so.
So are we
Second
proposing-
item, if I can continue, there's a second item that's also not, it would not meet your standard of merit or race. It is just a change from the half position to a full position, that is the last item on there. It's
And
not
has the
merit,
triple
it's-
asterisk
it's
next
just-
to it.
it's just adding
It's
that.
happy year.
That's not in that, and so I think if you're deciding to cut that position, that's one thing. If you're deciding not to, fund merit things, there's kind of three different things going on in there. There's actually the merit part, there's that position, half of that position, and then there's also this individual who is getting a promotion.
Right.
That's all.
But it's under a column called 2025 merit-based
Shouldn't have been.
increases. That's
Right.
all I'm
That's
trying to
why.
ask here
Right.
is,
And
if
yeah,
that
that's,
number is in this proposed salary up here for a line item, not by person who would have this amount.
It
All
is,
I'm
right?
trying to
Correct.
ask.
what is the question?
Is that 17,000 included in the personnel services?
The proposed
Or
salary.
the proposed
column.
salary column?
It is,
Okay.
but it's for the
Half,
the new person that's a half person because we really
as long
have,
as it's included.
right.
So these,
So based off of discussion.
Okay,
Are-
so let me see if I have this correct, if you don't mind. And I'm not saying that no one here is not notorious. But what we're basically saying here is we're requesting that the 2025 proposed salary for chief appraiser will be $99,813, correct? For budget purposes on salary only.
Well, that would be different if it's already been asked and answered for the merit of the COLA and the merit, that would be,
Okay, I
that'd be
think go off
cut
of-
out. And then you can use the 24 salary.
Yeah, just use the
We're gonna go
24 salary.
24 salary,
You just
yes.
use the 24.
Just use on 24 for everything,
Except
So-
for the bookkeeper.
except for the
bottom
bookkeeper.
line.
So really, it's 551,468.60.
I think that's correct.
You just take the 20,000 away.
Right.
So you take the 20,
So
the
is that what you're saying?
571,000.
Let's make sure,
No, it's, if you were to just go off the 24 salary,
Okay, let's run down that list. Do
are
want
you
this?
talking about the bookkeeper?
That's
the
what we're
very
asking
last
about, the
line?
very
If you
last
just
line of
remove
this.
that position, then you're
Yes.
just removing 20,000 from the 589.
Do you need 17 to get you through the
That's what we're asking.
6 months?
17 to get you through 6 months, what do you mean?
You said you have it for half a year. Your triple asterisk says that it's 17,000 is half a year.
No, the bottom is a calculation if that position existed. If you look, it's 20 plus 17 equals 37. That 37 carries up to the proposed salary.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to ask.
How
You
much
can-
of that do you need?
If you're gonna
10,000?
remove the whole position, then you can do
It's
it one
an
of two.
extra position
you
that
can-
he's,
Okay.
yeah, so.
It's an
Do
extra
you need it or
position.
no?
you have expressed that you're in a very difficult position for the
Correct.
school. And the easiest fix to that is to not include that 11th
Okay.
position.
So take it down to 551.
That's.
Well,
It's
it's actually, you can take the 616 minus the 37,
Minus 37.
that takes you to 579. If you remove COLA, that number takes you down to 568. If you remove the merit-based increases, save the 4,000 for the person that's actually doing a bookkeeping
Okay.
position,
Give me that number.
that number comes to 561,368.
Done. Is that what I'm asking the board now? Because we're not voting, mind you, line item by line item, but see, I've got to have something to put in the minutes
A
of the meeting
total.
about how we are going to accept this budget.
Okay,
I've got to stick to Robert's Rules of Order and the Open Meetings Act, so I'm really fighting to do that with y'all. I'm asking the board now, okay, before we just throw a vote out for a full budget, are you good with, is there any more discussion needs to be on personnel? Do you understand what's happening? Yes.
Mr. Oaker.
Yeah,
That would be a decrease from last year's budget. And we're saying that
But
we
the
understand
pay is,
this
same.
essentially the same,
the pay is the same.
Medical went up.
Medical went up.
with the exception of the bookkeeper deeds clerk.
Okay, so,
That's the way I understood
Yes.
the math.
yes.
And, okay, and Lee, go ahead.
I just want to say, as a newest member of this board, we don't have the benefit of historical, back and forth, if you will, familiarity. And if by some grace of God, I'm still on this board next year at this budget time, I do want to signal to the staff that I do feel strongly about the employees having some skin in the game when it comes to these insurance premiums. I understand this kind of come out of left field for you guys, and I do understand your point, sir. I don't like seeing anybody go backward either. It's, to me, that's a major source of contention. So moving forward, I just want to signal to you guys that that's something that, will be something to discuss in the upcoming budget cycle.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for
Not a
that.
problem.
Yeah, thank you for handling it that way, I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I just want to say something about the insurance. I'm Jackie, one of the insurance. When you have a family, you do pay. Like when you have kids, you do actually pay it. So just saying that, like everybody that works there doesn't. If we have family, we have kids, we do pay.
No, I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never worked, I mean, I've been self-employed for the last 21 years of my life, but prior to, whenever I had a job, I only had one job ever, it was electrical, when I was 18 years old, that paid 100% of my premium. Everywhere else I had to pay. And my wife and I, just us, we pay $1,900 a month. I understand, it's extremely expensive, I get it. And I never go to the doctor, but I do get it, so that was not lost on me, ma'am, I did understand it. Thank you. That's great.
Okay.
I do want to note that, and I'm not saying anything about the 561 number, but if you go to this, just understand that it's going to affect line item for group hospital, retirement, Medicare, well, maybe not Medicare, unemployment insurance, long-term disability, not workman's comp, but all of those will go down a little bit. You can keep those the same, and you're just gonna be, you'll have a short windfall there. So just understand that that's a function of the salaries.
Okay.
You might be better off leaving.
We're trying to.
Can I ask, we're also doing longevity proposed, we're doing away with that too? Okay, so that means, okay, we're doing away with.
So can I ask, did the school district, they did away with their longevity also?
We have TRS, we don't have longevity.
Longevity is a payment of every year.
Yes.
Doesn't the school do that, like for?
The longevity
We do
is-
not have,
So you did not, people don't move up in the rate schedule.
they have pay
year over
scales,
year, the pay scale, so they didn't move up in the
Only
pay
the
scale.
teachers, that's the, only the teachers.
only the teachers, not
Okay.
anybody
So
else.
they do get it.
The,
The
The
amount
teacher
average
get-
of that is about $150 to $200.
yes,
$100 for every 1 through 4 year and $500 in fifth.
Yeah,
See,
so that
it's on the
our
average.
website, and you can see each year.
All right,
So there is,
yes,
Right.
Time out. If y'all get rid of the longevity, then you're going to.
I don't mean to be rough.
I
Don't say
would
time
never
out.
touch
Raise your
it.
hand. Ask to
I
speak,
would never.
please.
Oh,
sorry. No, go ahead.
Sorry, Jen. Are you
Hey.
getting stressed out?
No, sir, I just want to make sure.
Just to be clear, if y'all take it, go ahead.
I'd like to, we need to clarify some math. We have a math error
Just let me
here.
say one thing, and I'll move on. I was just talking, I'm gonna be real quick.
I know.
If you take away the longevity, then people will lose money.
Okay,
That's a thing.
I'd like to
that's
talk
already
about a
built in.
math issue,
Okay.
that y'all gave me a number, and my board member is not able to reconcile to that number you gave us.
We're
So
just gonna ask, Mike, can you go back through the numbers that we were discussing on the salary? We're gonna leave the
You gave me a
2024
five-
salary. We're trying to determine where that exactly came from, because he came up with a different number than what we're getting, so we're.
If you're looking at 24, 25, it's different. So I'm working off a 25 number.
Okay,
And so really what you do is you take the 25 salary, you remove the 37, that takes you to 579,997. You remove the COLA at the bottom, which is 11,429. That takes you to 568. You remove 7,000 because you removed it up here in the 25, you don't remove 17,000 again because it was already added on the 25. And this bottom number is a calculation of half year.
It's 7,200.
It's 7,200 that remains in balance of what would have been 28,200. 7,200 remains. So that takes you down to 561,368. That's the math that I came up with. Because essentially what you're doing is you're using these bottom numbers here. You're using the 24 salaries. And understand that these salaries are different than what was actually approved in 24 because of some changes within our staff.
Okay, does the math clear for everybody?
And if you're coming up with a different number, Kevin, I'm okay to hear that. And it's kind of on the fly
I
here.
just didn't understand where the numbers were coming from. Now I think we're getting this.
okay.
so
really, yeah, this has changed
You kind of
because,
took, you took,
We got the same number.
But if you look at the, now if you do it this way, you
okay,
say,
so if you look at, sorry, just for clarification, you see we've got two columns, both called 2024 salary. Okay, we've got two columns, both are called 2024 salary.
they're different at the bottom because of the calculation.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to, that's what we're trying, so we're not working on the same columns here.
No,
We're not working on
Okay.
We're not working on those.
That's what, okay.
Yes.
That's where did it, let me see,
We're not working
okay,
off the bottom.
But that does include that longevity.
correct.
That would include the
The
longevity.
561, 368, 60 includes that 6,300 longevity.
Okay, so we're good with that number.
That should flatline all
I'm
salaries.
asking the board.
We're good.
Yes.
I'm good with it.
So salaries are going to be, this year, they're gonna be 589,813, .92 minus whatever the bookkeeper said, no.
No, just the
The
final
total-
number,
The final
That's fine.
number is 561,368.
Okay,
agreed?
561,
Kevin?
give it to me again.
Okay.
So is that?
Well, I didn't have my calculator, but I saw you got 60 cents. But you're right, it was 60 cents. Yeah, so it should be 561,368.
So we are
60
doing,
cents.
we're doing the longevity
Yes,
increases.
You are?
they should be, yes.
Are we doing the longevity increases?
Yes.
I thought we were not doing that. I thought we were keeping the salaries as they are, no longevity, no COLA, and no increases. But we're actually covering, we are giving more money because we're covering the increase in the medical.
That is something.
So it's not like there's no,
Longevity's
Most of
fine.
them, most of them are.
you gonna keep longevity?
That's fine if it's affecting, that's fine.
So we keep longevity?
Okay,
Okay,
so we're good with the total number for the salary then is $561,368.60.
Yes.
60
Agreed,
cents.
everybody's agreed, not include your longevity.
Correct.
Okay,
Very good, are we good? Okay,
thank you very much.
What is that?
all right, so that number is gonna go in.
Okay.
561368.
561,368 and 60 cents.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
All
I'm
right.
sorry about what I'm about to do. I wanna add back into the number, I wanna add to the budget, I wanna add the comp time. I wanna get rid of that this year. We are gonna be taking money out of reserves to get back to the school district, but we need to zero this out, in my opinion. What's the total for comp time that we have? What was the total, sir?
I don't have that in front of me, so
I know.
it's been considered.
He does.
I agree.
I do too.
For the record, part of the budget that we're gonna pick up, it's not included on the budget sheets, is to calculate the comp time that is owed the employees as of this date. Or we're gonna do it as of January, when is the date? Today.
There's a
What are we
couple,
gonna do? What do you suggest?
there's a couple of things. One, we as the appraisal district are required statutorily to give you the estimated budget, and we gave the entities a number. And we had a personnel services number that we initially reported at 616, right? So that if you're saying that, hey, we want to do a thing with personnel, but then we also want to pay comp time as a function of personnel, you can do that as long as it does not exceed the 616. Because we have all given notice to our entities that it won't.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. What's the total of comp time?
I don't have that in front of me.
I'm looking for it, I'm not, but, okay,
Okay,
Can we,
It's just a matter of like, I've already given notice.
I understand that, but if it comes up fund balance, that money's already been transferred. I don't know that it needs to be.
was it ever emailed?
Well, we're doing the budget here, so you're saying that you want to.
But it doesn't need to be, exactly, it does not matter. That's something you take.
You want to take
Yes.
that?
Yeah, it has to be a different function.
That's fine. All right, that's fine. Okay, it is, we're getting on 2 hours, 15 minutes.
so do I have a total on this budget, guys?
We're not gonna add it to this budget.
No, just,
we need
no, we need to retotal it up.
I'd like a bottom line number for the record that we approved a total budget of, that needs to be on the minutes and meeting for the record. Considering how much we use.
Scott?
The school district didn't give any kind of raise at all. And you're proposing medical and.
Longevity.
Yeah, this is why I'm like, I mean,
That's why
The
I said
judge
longevity. Did county give raises?
The county
We
did,
did last year, but we did this year.
we did not last year, we did a COLA this year, and we do not touch our longevity. And our insurance, we paid a portion of it anyway.
I have
anyway.
visited with Mike about this a month ago.
And they said,
This is what I'm thinking, I need those totals.
Okay. So if I can get if somebody can give me a number,
Take 150 times 12, and then multiply that by the 10 employees, and that's them paying their insurance on their own.
we don't pay our insurance on our own either, I can't just, the county, I can't.
I know that as a school district, our insurance went up $150.
Ours went up too, and they changed their deductibles to, and ours, they changed their deductibles, raised their deductibles up, and
I'm telling you.
we can do, We can do it, we can do this.
We can make an amendment.
And I'd like to come back and let's do this as it is, and if we just, and we can come back and we can
But
make.
I need the hard numbers, and this was a month
Hard
ago.
numbers.
I want hard numbers.
Okay,
And we'll just take that as fund balance.
Colleen, you want
Fund balance from where I'm at.
you can't increase benefits. Michaela? Matt Oker says, Mr. Oker believes that if we're going to do this, we need to do it at this budget hearing.
Because it's coming out of your personnel.
It's coming out of our personnel.
I just,
So
so you
can
have,
can you make a suggestion?
hold on, you gotta do 150 times 12, and there's 10 employees that receive health benefits. Is that correct?
And that includes, that's your 33, right? Am I right?
I'm sorry.
1,800 times 10.
It's 11.
11 employees that receive
Yes, it is.
full health
That's
benefits. So
right.
150 times 12 times 11, it's 19,800 that come out of.
Okay, and so what?
That's happening.
Well, I just have to.
Is that how you already do? So you got 32, that's that one, and then over
It's
here.
just under
What do
20,000.
we do? You brought
So
that to
just take
19, you brought that one down to 100, that's what I thought.
Okay,
All right, and your bottom line number.
Okay, so
is,
it's gonna take this number, now we're gonna deal with this number, right?
Okay.
We're gonna minus.
Me too.
I'm trying to follow it, so you're gonna keep the pay the same, but you're gonna charge them this year. Because you made a motion that you were keeping the pay the same, that includes health insurance. And then y'all said you can do that this
That's
year.
minus.
And now you're gonna go back and take it away.
And you're gonna add like 32, right?
I missed something.
well, we have passed the budget, so we're
Minus
still
40,
discussing.
9,
Yeah, there hasn't been a
minus
full
32.5, right?
No, mine says, can we do this one? Can we
Just to- So I wanted to address this topic of comp time, because I do have the graphic that was given to me by the district. So we've got one employee, and I don't know how these are ranked, but we have one employee with 6.16 days, one with 65.56 days, one with 64.13 days, one with 7.46 days, one with 1.375, and one with 0.9739. Quick math, we're looking at probably 39, 40. We're looking at around 150 days.
Oh, it's right here.
And I don't know what the average is, I don't know who makes what here. That's not in this.
Okay, it's right here. There's 7,000.
You're pulling
There's
that
400.
In your statement,
And then this one
you
here,
stated that you were.
we're saying that this number is the difference
all I
between
asked.
3,100, right?
So the same salary as last year,
No.
plus the additional.
And then then Matt
This
said,
right here.
then I-
That's the service. Yeah.
I don't pay full.
Not.
Well,
that,
Judge,
but
I,
legal.
I pay 20,
Then Matt said-
24, pay
he
24
told us to
paycheck.
know what we should expect from him.
Judge, do you pay anything for
So
your,
that's
for your
All I
insurance?
asked.
You do.
It's not much. Our deductibles went up this year because our premiums did go up. So they
So
did,
if we get the
deductibles went up, they doubled.
Y'all aren't gonna
It's
do it.
19,100.
Our
Six
premium
small.
I pay is,
Six
I
small.
wanna say it's
That,
$24.
you gotta do that, you gotta do that. That's not in your,
That's right, I pay
that's not in your
17.5,
weekly, or
right?
five.
So if you start taking
That's a one-time
away,
check.
Nobody suggested that they pay all of it. What we're saying is right now, they pay none.
right, I can see, I mean, I know you guys, they piggyback.
So all we're
off
doing is.
the county.
The way that they, it's just the thing, you're gonna have us
The way you see
way
it.
before.
Right.
Matt's not wrong.
In your squares.
He's not wrong. I'm not saying that. There's no way I can say.
But like I
he's wrong.
said, we
I'm
pay,
just saying-
I can see you guys paying what we pay since
Just
you're all.
saying, another year of-
Yes, ma'am. That's
Another
that's what-
year of not
That's why.
Right, so I remember 2 years back. It's just, I just don't want that to happen.
Well, I understand, you will lose employees.
Minus, we gave the vehicle warrants, right?
You did. That's
So
that.
we got that, and so if we keep that, the wife would be happy about it.
G&A looks really good.
Keeping cloud salaries flat, no longevity.
What are we waiting on right now?
We're tabulating the total.
You're effectively still getting a raise, but-
People are supposed to be happy. We understand. We get
Okay,
it.
so let's do 639 minus 35, just roughly.
We just have to ask.
No, that's right.
So what,
No, we
what
get it.
money do you
Okay.
Because it's our.
Having longevity also.
Okay.
Longevity.
Okay.
Will give
So,
them the
six-
extra
36,
benefit
36.
when we're cutting the position. So overall, we're cutting
Goes at 900.
30,000.
Yeah, as long as I can.
So it lasts.
And it's not like we-
When you add those up, it should be 61,000.
It actually is an absolute.
Plus
Not
7,000.
only,
Plus
not breaking it down,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
So that number is five.
the compromise is.
Excuse me, guys, what we're gonna have a problem is that I want, we're having conversations here
They have the benefit of hearing. your-
that I want them to make sure that they know what we're doing, because this affects especially the judge, I mean, all taxpayers, because it's what you pay, the judge. Yes, sir, Mr. Oger?
So just to let the audience know that some of the discussions that are taking place here, I don't know your name, sir.
Ray.
You're right, okay.
Yeah, I'm right.
Okay, Mr. Presley, right?
Right,
Yeah,
that's fine.
we were discussing about what his feelings were about the employees, about where he thought that we could meet their satisfaction level, still understanding that we have budget constraints. And so there's been some back and forth discussion regarding the longevity pay. Most of that was just informational, no decisions been made, but I want y'all to have the benefit of understanding what that back and forth was, because that is the reason we conduct these meetings in open session. And so that everyone who wishes to attend can clearly understand what's going on. So I didn't want that discussion to be sidebar and people not have the benefit of that. So,
I know I've talked a lot. Can I have just a couple seconds real quick about this comp time? Jeff?
Yes, sir.
So something to think about, this comp time, I want to give you all a bit of a what if. If this comp time wasn't there and y'all didn't have to deal with it, we've talked about this every year, but just know this, what you would be dealing with is you would be dealing with people who are upset about us being behind on plats, addressing, splits, merges. Remember I talked to y'all earlier about this county turns over so fast, there's so much going on. So when you start thinking about Islands of Rockport, Fulton Landing, Heritage Park, you think about all that stuff, we gotta get that right. And that creates a problem because it's labor.
Yes, sir. I would let you know, our issue or my concern is not with the fact that there is comp time.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that we've accumulated so much and it's hanging over us.
Yeah, I get it.
And I would like to I just want to get that taken care of, because I want y'all,
Or you could punt and get it taken care of next time.
Let's not question.
let's go.
I'm trying to get us the total number, guys.
One more question.
Yes.
In the 2024 salaries that's listed here, is the longevity from 2024 included in that number?
It's additive, like if you look at the 24 salary, the 24, so if you look at the top thing right here, the actual amount it had proposed longevity in there. So it was inclusive of that proposed longevity in the 2024 salary at the top one, where it all adds up to 589. Okay, so
That had your longevity.
that
from
had the
2024.
longevity built into that number.
So
Correct.
it's not raising it.
So you can't take that.
So if we include this additional 2025 longevity, we're increasing.
Yes.
We're increasing
But
the
it's only a
salary.
arbitrary number because they're not gonna actually get it. So.
I don't wanna make sure I
I want to make
understand.
sure that that
because
is
I've been
very
told
clear in
different things.
if we're paying insurance increasing, then we're not doing longevity. I want to make sure that that is stated.
And then in the 2025 calculations that I worked from, that number, you're just using as if you just calculated everything out on the bottom Excel, okay? And then you start taking things away from it. And what we talked about taking things away were the actual employee, which is number 11, so that's minus 37. Then we took away COLA. And then you took away the relative increase. We said that relative increase was really 7,200 because it's really non-existent in a 25-year. You don't have that additional 17,000.
So if I've got a number of 561, 368, 60, that does not include the longevity.
Well,
Yes or no?
it does.
That does.
It does.
Okay.
Because it gives us longevity, because in this 561, it was not, the longevity was still there.
But was it last year's longevity without the increase for this,
So
for that year?
you do the longevity and you go to the 561, or you take out the 19,000 for health insurance.
Right. So we pull longevity.
Do we have a number?
We give them the method.
Do we have a number?
No.
Yes, I think I do, but I wanna make sure that the other board member is satisfied.
Yes.
What's your number that you have?
Okay, so I need to, before we make a vote, I wanna verify
She's got
with
a total
mine,
number.
yeah, but I'd like to verify this, okay? So what I'm coming up with is a total budget,
Total expense.
the total expense, I apologize for that, because some of the, can you back up? Okay, the total expense that's going out is gonna be $1,195,514.
No, ma'am. That is, you can say it again, but that's not what I came up with.
Okay,
What did you come up with?
I'm gonna do one more thing and I'm gonna give you a number.
okay. Yeah, I'm a couple.
The number that I came up with for total expense is $1,468,650.
Yeah.
And this is how I came up with
Okay,
it.
tell me.
The items that were discussed, so everything in that top benefits section remains the same at the 273.
Okay,
The items that were discussed for changing were the board of review expense at 32.5. Tell me if I'm off.
okay, wait, okay.
Board review 32.5.
Okay.
Yes, 32.5, yes.
Okay.
The auto expense at 19,100.
Yes.
Yes.
The legal services 100,
Yes.
and the building and grounds maintenance at 17,000.
Yes.
Okay, so if you add up the deltas of all of those changes, just from the benefit, like just in that middle section, you
This
have
is disbursements total.
disbursements total. You got 8,400. These are the deltas. These are the differences. So
Right.
you can take it from the bottom. 8,400, 1,600, 7,000, and 44,000.
There was one you missed there, the conference associations dues went back to the 20.
4,500.
That went to 4,500.
Uh-huh.
I must have missed that.
Okay.
So $1,100 additional.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so we take the bottom number, the 639, and if I'm adding, or if I'm taking away an additional $1,100, then it would be 578,146 minus 1,100. That number is 577,046.
577,046, okay.
It's actually 576.
I got 578. Come over here. Come over here.
This subtract 100 from the 570.
I'm really sorry.
This is why a month ago.
The differences in auto expense, the difference between 19.1 and 21.7 is 2,600, not 1,600.
No, it's 1,600.
That's what we.
So y'all are doing,
19,
y'all are doing 20,100?
19.
Right, it's 20, it's half of 42 is 20.
Oh, it's 2,600.
2,600?
So the
So-
number is
Oh.
576,046.
I was looking at 19,1 and 17,5.
What do you have?
576,046 for the disbursements total.
All right. So then we're gonna come in at. So we're subtracting. Is that what we're doing?
So I'm gonna add these up.
All right.
Four, six.
550.
So that's the number we're gonna be voting.
That is the total expense.
Well, correct. That's from this, correct, this number right here. From here down.
To that total expense number right there.
That's not including the 33.
No, the 33, you'll add 33. And that
Oh,
total,
oh, okay,
the
that's-
total amount due by entities will,
That's different, okay.
yeah, that will be 1,466,550 minus 33,006. I come to a grand total of 1,433,544.
Okay, that's what we're getting ready to vote on. That's what we're
Scott.
getting, 1,433,544. Okay.
So we reduced it.
Yeah. 1,5.
I'm gonna see if our numbers match. Okay.
Who has the old school tape thing? That's
The
what I
slide
do,
rule?
yes. 1,5.
The number that we need to vote on is right here.
Jesus.
Hey, this is what say line looks like.
Yeah. I've had to check
You're $6,300 short because you have a little longevity pay.
What she said is they live here. You see, that's the difference.
Yes, this column includes this, and if we're saying no to that.
So we said one or the other. Longevity is baked into the salary, correct?
Longevity is baked into 2024 salaries. So if we just keep 2024 salaries, we don't, that means they don't include, it includes last year's COLA, not this year, it includes it also includes the longevity bonus. So it's baked in.
Yes.
So what did we?
I got that. This number is what I got. That's when you pull out the longevity.
Okay. Oh, that's brought that down.
But I worked off of the 616 numbers. Let's go back. If we just work off of the 2024 numbers, can't do that because the bookkeeper studies.
So if you take 2025, what do that out there?
Yes, that does make sense.
Yes, it is. We're saying no to that.
We're saying that you're giving.
We're giving them the longevity off of 2024 salary, not 2025,
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I
Okay,
got.
we need to,
I'm wrong in that.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess we need to we address something from the board. If I can have some quiet in the room, please.
Hello,
Excuse
quiet,
me, we're
quiet in the
still in
room.
session. No, we're still in session, right? Okay.
You want to take,
Okay, if Kevin, if you want to explain it from your point of view, it's regarding the longevity.
you want to take something off of the 561
If he wants
number?
to take the 60.
The 561, 368, and 60 cents. My understanding and what my vote is for at this point, and granted,
Yes.
is that we're giving you the medical increase, but we're not giving the longevity increase of
For-
6,300
For 2025.
for 2025.
Correct.
Correct.
You're getting your prior, if there was prior longevity, whatever's baked into that 2024 salary,
Yes.
you're still
What's-
getting that.
I have a bottom line number, so if you, again,
$555,068.60.
558,
I'm sorry, 555, $555,068.60.
$6,300 is the delta.
Yes, that's it.
So
For the total budget. Okay, so if we go, but he's talking expenses, okay, so
You can come to the gym
we're
with me.
gonna take.
So my number.
From your
Force
I'm
us to
still-
question
still-
33. So what, okay, come up with.
Is that you?
You're gonna add that to
No,
Well, yeah, when we need certificate exactly, okay, we're not.
I'm getting
That's
there.
right.
about 6:30.
Okay,
We got numbers.
Okay.
So, hey, one second, just close, two seconds. I'm looking on, too many hands in the cookie jar, I'm gonna back out and let them figure it out.
Yes, ma'am. We have one more agenda item, I promise it's gonna be quick. And it is why the judge and it is why the superintendent is here, and they'll be like. I'm
Because the
glad I
bottom
showed
line,
up
the
today.
bottom line number.
It's helping you, because it's walking away with some cash. Not you particularly.
I know.
Yes, thank you. So I got about 50 cents in my pocket, we can talk about the appraisals afterwards, see how much like, okay.
Do we have a final number that we could bring
What is it,
on?
like, what you got right
No, well, is he verifying?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got that same number.
Okay,
Okay,
you
so
do not. All right, so.
And this is the bottom,
We'll take this
the
and
bottom line number.
I have like a window, total expenses. Okay, so we've got a bottom line total expense number, correct? Of
Bottom line amount due by entity number is 146250.
142650.
One, four.
Totally.
Hey, everybody please, so they get this, so we can get out of
The
here.
amount due by entities is 146250. Is that what you get?
No. Say that to me again.
1460,250.
Well, you said something totally.
Oh, did I say something different?
Okay, no.
Well, I'm glad you caught it.
For all of
It's been a
them.
long night.
Can we get a vote on that? Is that the same way?
Okay,
Amount-
do I have a motion?
Amount due by entities, make sure you say that, so we have the bottom line
So I'd
number.
like to say that, Nathan.
Hold on, everybody, can I please have a quiet room? I have this is, Audubon's gonna make a motion.
I make a motion for the,
All right,
I'm getting a different number
okay,
from what's due to the entities.
okay, what do you?
so many numbers.
Yeah.
Wait a second,
1427494.60.
Scott, can you?
That
number was amount due by
1427.
Michaela, did you ask for the budget? to-
We're talking numbers.
Okay.
1427 $494.60.
Okay.
Say that number one more time.
1,427,494.60.
We got 1,427,244.
We like his number better.
Give me the numbers.
Same
Like,
thing,
I
except
tell my bookkeeper, make it work.
it's the same number, you just change the.
That's it.
Here's the number that I have right here. Here's the number that they gave. We're $250.
Yes, just don't give them a million overs, put just 250, so million or 2,7,244. Okay.
That's the amount due by.
Due by the 18th. Okay.
We're off by $250.
Okay, so you're done.
I would like to,
All right, once again, last time, please, Mrs. Quattlebaum.
okay, I'd like to, go ahead and make a motion on agenda item number 7, which is to, make a motion to approve the possible 2026 proposed budget, 25 budget as needed. Would be $1,427,244.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh my God. Do you want me to take them out for you?
Next, all right, that agenda item is
All in
closed.
favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're all in favor, we already said, okay. So that, moving on to 8, finally, and it's like almost 8 o'clock. Okay, consideration and possible action to approve or disapprove making changes to the Aransas County Appraisal District restricted and committed fund balances. We need to have a board action on this. Currently, we are running have a committed fund balance of $469,179 at $179, yeah, thank you. We, as I brought up in a previous meeting, I do not see that where we, in the state statutes, are allowed to keep a committed fund. I'm going to make a motion, I'm gonna make a motion that we reduce the committed fund balance for this year down to $100,000 from $469,179. Currently in our committed fund balance, we have $30,000 in future legal fees, $30,000 in computer replacement, $31,870 in building maintenance, and we have $377,309 in what is called a 3-month operating budget. And as we are the entities carry that operating budget, they carry the operating budget for us. I'm going to make a motion that we reduce our committed fund balance from. Thank you. That we are. Hold on.
This is another.
Hold on. As we discussed, you have a cash balance on prepayments for 1 quarter, leaving you with an available balance of 200 in your bank accounts. If you look at your fund balance, you will see the fund balance is.
I'm gonna just say to table this based off of what the information we just got.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
number 8 is
so-
tabled.
All right, I got it. I'd like, it's open. Do I have a second on the table? Okay, I would like to, before we take it back, I'd like to table number 8 for the next discussion. What I would like to do, and superintendent and the judge, I'd like you to, if I could see you and we could discuss this. We have about 400,000.
Hold on, time out. You gotta point of order. We have a first and a second to table or we're gonna discuss why we're tabling versus what you're.
I'm discussing why we're tabling.
Okay.
We are tabling this now. And we are tabling because we just got information today from our auditor. But to let you know, the information that we got to read to you is we have, according to this, we have a cash balance of 500. We have $515,800, $800,018. The state statutes makes it look like we're not allowed to keep a fund balance. I would like to return as much to the entities this year as for the appraisal district. I would like us to return as much as possible, and that comes out to be something like $377,000 or $400,000. The motion is to table, sir.
I just would like to say something. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
I did this, my first year as chief appraiser, I actually returned money to the entities because it was uncommitted. And did we have an audit last year? We did. Okay, so the auditor found nothing wrong. So the committed fund balance is pretty business. Your businessman, what do you say, still has stuff in reserve?
Yeah, the problem is operated by the local government. So
I understand, but it's prudent to have stuff in.
And also.
We have.
We have a state.
And audit also does include propriety. So audit can just be, I'm saying your numbers are correct. I don't know what y'all are referring to, but they're not telling you you follow the law.
Oh, yeah.
No, not all audits are that way. Most of them.
So we got a motion on the table.
Part of the triangles, please. The motion before us is to table, not to discuss anything else.
Okay, we have a motion on the
You
floor.
can discuss or reopen, or, you know, we can take a vote and say, no, I don't want it tabled, but we cannot go farther down. We have a second on the table, agenda item number 8. Can we take a vote, please?
All in favor of tabling?
All right. Thank you.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
And motion was
The meeting is adjourned. Motion to adjourn. Second, 7:49. Thank you all for attending.